Going live like we do 365, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, Ben Hamin, YouTube channel, aka kayfabe Mr. OVW channel from back in the day, infidels. And I want a freak in the morning, a freak in the evening, just like me. I want a roughneck wrestler who can satisfy my comeback spot and make me look good so I don't have to do a bunch of shit, infidels. So y'all, I went out there and I got the best of the best. It's Chris Silvio, it's Hacker Hamin back to light the fuse on a huge AEW Dynamite. Click, click, boom. Oh, yeah, man. It's the good brother and the bad brother, the white shirts and the black shirts today, as it usually is whenever we face off. Me doing the dirty work, him being sexy and cool. It's my main man, El Sucio, Chris Silvio. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Let me tell you something, Ben Hamin. You're not going to bust a nut while I'm on this show. Even in my new snakeskin shirt.
That was a sexy ass shirt he had on. I go, man, he should actually make that
right?
and get, a dozen of those made in different colors. He looked really good. I really liked that version of Jake the Snake. It was kind of, you could go too far with it and it could become a Crocodile Dundee thing easily. But I liked the way he looked last night, man. I thought those guys shined in their pre-tape and in ring on camera. So, yeah, a lot to them. They got a couple things really right last night on AEW, man, on a huge Jericho 30-year celebration show. Some very cool stuff. We'll break it all down. Obviously, the dog collar match and our own Serena Deeb, who we are so proud of and is killing it. So I can't wait to break it all down. News-wise, we just were here for the locker room, so as we went through it, I figure we'll start off because I know you I want to hear that raspy laugh. Some get back on Ab Day, after he went at us and whatnot. And bingo, we're doing B12 shots apparently, and that's all it takes nowadays to be a jacked monster and have abs. So I know I'm going to go to Price Chopper later and get some because that's it, man. B12. So Brondo has electrolytes. What do you think about that, pal?
That explains the bikini briefs, bro. I must have been born with an abundance of B12 in my body for these six-pack abs to shine oh so bright like only the superstar does. I've been watching a lot of Billy Graham lately.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what it takes. You're a body guy, especially during the
Former body guy.
Well, psychedelic Silvio era. Those pictures are online. If you need some late night spank bank material, he's not hard to find. And dude, you and Raphael Constantine, aka the Fanger, were fucking jacked for smaller flyweight, cruiserweight guys. They were shredded wheat, man. So go back and check out some of that. What were you guys called when it was Raphael Constantine and Silvio?
We were called Fighting Spirit.
Okay.
And that was around the time when I got really serious about putting on size, looking great, and wanted to get further and further in wrestling. And I remember it's funny when I recall it now, because even a couple years ago at my healthiest, I guess you could call like the peak of my athletic career, I would never really squat heavier than at most 225, just because I didn't want to put pressure on my knees, whatever else. But I remember those days with Fang hitting 365, 400 at 5'6", 100, maybe 70 pounds. Heaviest I ever got was 183. And I remember a time benching well over 300 pounds, deadlifting over 400 pounds, just a fucking savage. But yeah, those were fun times, man.
Yeah, dude. You still talk to the Fanger on the regular or no?
No, dude. I lost touch with them a few years ago, unfortunately.
Let's make a real effort this week to reconnect with him, because that's a guy who's is a son of Rip as much as you are, Jamin, and who's worked with the biggest. He helped create Ryback. His feud with Shiloh was one of my favorite, the loaded boot things. That was one of my favorite things we ever did. And then obviously the transition from kind of a mini Ultimate Warrior that everybody loved and just a phenomenal worker. I always like to chain wrestle him because he's so tiny, and he's like a spider all over me. You know what I mean? Like there and there. And it was a fun dynamic to roll with that way. But a guy who I have immense respect for, and as the 5-star star search, or excuse me, 6 stars, we have those shows up now for you guys all to listen to for the new affiliate podcast. One of them is 2 In with Sergio and the Vet, which I love the name of that. And like it popped me because people don't know what 2 In means. What's 2 In mean?
I don't even remember, bro. You're asking the wrong guy.
It's just Rip saying 2 In. Let's go. Get in the ring. Do it. So
I use that in class.
Yeah, dude. Like it took me a minute too, and I was like, I could hear it in my head. I'm like, 2 In. What is that? 2 In, motherfuckers. Let's go. And then and then off we went, dude, for 2-3 hours of practice. But big shout out to the Fanger, man. Definitely want to give as much respect to our OVW brothers. People are like, oh, you guys know so much. We're not the only ones, man. We just happen to have an outlet and a following right now, and there's no reason our brothers and sisters shouldn't shine because they have a lot of lessons that Sil and I may have forgotten, especially Sil with his advanced fucking CTE and me just getting older and Alzheimer's setting in. The Fanger could have a whole litany of lessons where it opens up something in our minds. We're like, oh shit, I forgot all about that. Or Sergio and the Vet. Absolutely, dude. Yeah. So I'm excited to reconnect and let these guys have a voice and a platform. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, man. The Fang was a special guy. You can't really tell, but over my shoulder, there's a poster. It's like a Japanese anime looking poster of he and I when we were a tag team. And Fang was a guy that flew so close to the sun. I remember when I got to OVW, I wasn't very big. I came off the indies to where I thought I was jacked. A funny note is Rey Mysterio was billed at 145. I started wrestling at 112 pounds. So I remember that was my goal. Okay, get to 145 because Mysterio's on TV and he's 145. Then Spike Dudley got billed at 155. So that was my next goal. And when I walked into OVW, I was probably somewhere between those two. And these guys were giants. You remember how it was. So I was like, holy fuck, what am I going to do?
And Anthony Bravado, fucking Big Cat, Ryback, Oxen Hammer, monsters, right. Dude. Monsters.
And I walk in the locker room for DCW and I survey the land. I notice Jamin, who's about my size, and like, okay, I could do something with him. And then I see Little Fang at 3 months into the business, 105 pounds, and his partner Sonic, a short guy. And my eyes lit up like, oh shit, okay. And I figured these guys know how to cruiser wrestle because I came from the indies doing 450s and shit. So Rip books us in a match with those two, me and Jimmy against them. And I remember asking Fang, okay, what do you know how to do? And he's like, well, I can hip toss, I can arm drag, I can drop kick, just the basic fundamentals. He was 3 months in. And I was like, well, what about like some head scissors or a Rana? No, I'd never learned how to do that, which of course Rip doesn't teach because Rip never did that himself. So and I remember those
Dinsmore before that, and Dinsmore ain't doing no right. Nobody.
So I remember a lot of those moves. If you go back and watch the match, I wasn't good enough at the time to make them great. I was only good enough to make them palatable. But in those matches, you'll see both Sonic and Fang doing some cruiser shit like quesadoras into arm drags and head scissors and ranas. And that was a combination of before the match, me going through the base with them in the back or trying it out in the ring. So it was so much fun for me. And Fang and I had such a special relationship because I was his teacher of the cool shit. Rip taught him how to work. And I was always pushing him like, bro, you're the smallest cruiser. So let's go. Here's some shit. So before, I knew it, he's doing ranas off the ropes and fucking moonsaults off the top. But his fundamentals were so crisp. Dude was easily one of the best in the company. And we built such a good friendship just through that and having matches together. I remember like being there for him when his first kid was born. We started teaming and, just everything kind of came together. Unfortunately, our careers took two different paths where I wanted to be a singles and follow wrestling stardom, and Fang kind of went the other way, but I can't really speak high enough to his talent. Some of my matches I had with him as a partner, I would easily put down on the top 5 lists of my favorite all time. I mean, the guy was really good. Look up, fans of the show, look up Fighting Spirit versus the Elite OVW. If you want to see a good tag team wrestling match, like ones you're not going to see often on TV, where we build heat for hot tags, but still do an abundance of really cool shit, that's the match to watch. I'm still proud of those matches 10, 12 years later.
Who's in the Elite?
The original Elite, not the Young Bucks, not the Jacksons, but our friend Nick the Man Beast, Ted the Man Beast, excuse me. and the infamous Power.
Yeah. So I mean, those are the true sons of Rip. One more just for my own edification. What do you like best? Sonic Fang, Dark Evil Fang under Apoc's Ministry of Darkness, or the what's his name, John, whatever it is, the knockoff for Ryback, the little kid, the John, I want to say John Teeter, but like, remember when he was Ryback and like we just made him a little dude, like, oh yeah, Ryback, like when we first came in as the Terminator.
I don't remember that little kid. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go with Fang in the Bag with
Fang in the Bag. Okay, yeah,
he was a kid.
It was, you remember in Terminator, Schwarzenegger, and it was the kid. What's the kid fucking name? John, whatever the fuck. That was what he was to Ryback in the first like 6 vignettes that kicked it off.
Who portrayed this kid though? Was it
Fang? Fang did.
Oh shit!
Fang and Ryback together.
No, I don't remember that. But my very first OVW match during developmental days, Ryback was my tag team partner.
So good. That's a good partner to have. There's no doubt about that.
We won.
You're eating. Yeah, we won. Exactly.
I didn't win, but we won.
Shout out to Ryback, man, when he retweeted us on a little shoot that we cut earlier this week. Always cool. Again, another guy who got let go. And obviously could have been the next Ultimate Warrior if they fucking would have booked him, right? There's no doubt about it. Could have been bigger than the Ultimate Warrior, in my opinion. But because of the bullshit and the politics or the whatever, and Punk wants to bury him and yada, yada, yada. Well, when he was off, he came back to DCW with the students where, you know, we take guys with no bodies or some bodies and hide their weaknesses and whatnot. Now, here's a guy who's cut from a superstar cloth and knows that this is his opportunity still. If he makes the most of it, was super humble and worked with guys probably way below the level where he had been at that time, coming out of Al Snow's advanced class and being on TV and everything. And dude, it went from Silverback to Ryan Reeves to Ryback, and didn't know what that was. All that was Ryan Reeves and Silverback gimmick that he had mashed together. Used to have blonde hair, earrings and shit, and before he shaved the head and was even, you know, what he became. With the RVD singlets in WWE, but before that, he was the Terminator. He was a fucking T2000 comebacker in the future, and he was cool to play that. And we just do lights up, lights down, and he'd be there. And we built against a big Northern muscle guy in Blair Moan, aka Anthony Bravado, which is probably the most gay viewed video on my YouTube. There's tons of look at these two big muscle hunks together. I love this. Like non-wrestling fans watching that kind of shit, but
lots of horniness.
Lots of crazy horniness going on, but they are two big fucking bull moose locking up, bro. I'll tell you that. And he was cool to do that business for no money to get noticed. And that was the pebble in the pond to take him to where he is now. So from a guy who's 105 pounds to a guy who's 305 pounds, it's all about character and doing good business for your brothers at the end of the day. So we're going to reach out to Fang. I want to say what's up. I did send this link out to another brother of ours. We'll see if he's awake and answers it or not. So.
You left out the fact, though, that, however, they took the Terminator and they turned him into Skip Sheffield first.
Before they turned him into Ryback. Yeah. What was his catchphrase? Some gomer ass.
Howdy doody shit. I just remember him having a straw in his mouth. I don't know if he actually did, like cowboy hat, chewing on a piece of straw. Good old country farm boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, they could fuck up a wet dream over there. There's no doubt about it, dude. You give them gold and they look at it, they love it, and then when it comes to the execution, it's brutal. And it's got to be brutal on, I never want to put anybody in a bad position because of the Stooges. It's got to be brutal on Jimmy because we were doing better work with no budget together as a labor of love. Now he's got insane budget, can fucking produce what he can, but you're handcuffed. Like, don't look at that camera. They'll scream at you. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, let's be artists together. And Jimmy is one of the most flamboyant and extreme artists that I know. And that's how he operates on the edge of a razor blade best. Like, that's when his best stuff comes out. I can only imagine, getting to do, we worked our whole lives to get there, so he's proud of it. But at the same time, I know how many brushes he paints with. He's got to be operating at 30-40% capacity of what he could actually do most of the time. So
Right.
maybe in 10 years there'll be a regime change and he'll be the top guy, and we'll have a whole Picasso wonderland of artistic value. But at this time, man, like I said, they just can't execute. They have the ideas, whether they want to rip them from Fight Club and Batman and whatever the fuck else. The roadmap's right there. Why can't they follow it at the end of the day? They are with Reigns a little bit, but it's just too much.
You are my tribal chief.
Those in the public eye always gain the most scrutiny. So with WWE, I've been a fan and I've watched WWE as long as I've been alive. And from the day I watched until now, we've seen some shit gimmicks and angles come across, and we've also seen some of the greatest angles of all time. Unfortunately, when they're the big player, the attention gets solely thrown on their shoulders, and the business kind of tends to go off of WWE, whether they're trying to counter WWE and do the opposite or borrow from it. So with them, man, it's a situation where it's hard to win and it's hard to lose. I'll be the first to admit that they have some misses along the way, sometimes many, and they have some great talents in between that puts on these phenomenal matches, like one I want to talk about later. But as far as like Jimmy goes, man, NXT still remains one of my favorite shows, just purely because it's more sport wrestling based than so much melodrama. And he's doing a phenomenal job with it. I talked to him the other day about it. And I really think NXT kind of is like the shining light of the WWE brand. I just don't quite understand why the 1.6 million or whatever that tunes in on Monday or whatever the number is on Friday, why those fans who like wrestling don't tune in on Wednesdays at the same number. When I was a wrestling fan, I watched everything with the word wrestling.
They are. It's split. Monday, they run unopposed, 1.6 million. You're talking AEW and NXT running against each other, 500 to 600,000, 800 to 900,000. There's 1.5. Your fall off is only about 7% of that core Monday Night Raw audience.
What about the Tuesday numbers? Do we recall those? I don't remember what they were.
They're like 150, 160, but that's not the problem of their creative or their work. That's a marketing and distribution issue, which I saw Impact is getting into 20 million homes in the UK. So maybe this could be a massive boost that they need. But to be honest with you, I think that Anthem and them need to work out some kind of deal to get distributed into, even if it's in a late night spot, to more homes, because week after week, the stuff on Impact Impact's always going to impact and make rough choices. Dude, Scott D'Amore's performances this week and last week are fucking unbelievable. Like at a level, I was like, wow. The scene work him and Heath Slater did this week was phenomenal. Like where I would be like, we got the take. I don't need to punch this up. You know what I mean? We got it, boys. And there's other people doing great stuff in their women's division is the strongest in wrestling, character-wise, overall business with this wedding story-wise. It's all hitting, but only 160,000 people are seeing it. So that's not on the workers at all. Where
not at all.
We can tune into the main event of this show and go, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, on AEW and in WWE, we can do ridiculous things that never pay off and just are canceled out of nowhere, and we burn our audience left and right. So Impacts isn't really anything to do with the war or being in that, even in that conversation because of the marketing and distribution. But when it comes to NXT, the best thing they could do is say we lost this. It was a bad move, and we're going to move to Thursdays. I think you'll see both shows go up. I think NXT could be at 1 million, and I think AEW could be at 1.3 million.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. And don't forget, man, the UK market is invaluable. Just 8 years ago, Impact Wrestling at the time was selling 8,000 tickets to shows in the UK, 10,000 tickets. They were doing phenomenal business. I got
a huge hotbed for them, right? Like that was a huge core. Go ahead.
Even until recently, as recent as 2017, a lot of my work overseas came from the international distribution of Impact and the short-lived Global Force Wrestling exposure that I got. It aired in so many countries. I have a video of one of my matches that aired somewhere in India. So these people got to know me in all these different countries, and a lot of that was due to Impact. So international fans have always kind of had a little bit of a hard on for Impact. So if they can use that to their advantage, like you said, maybe we start pulling in some bigger numbers across the board.
I think so, and I'm glad that we have James MacGyver and Old Athers on the SmackDown attack now, as they become main stage affiliate hosts here in the shows that they are doing and whatnot everywhere. But now this might be the switch up if things really do start to take off UK wise, because that audience is so hungry to be like, acknowledge me, acknowledged for the diehard wrestling fans that they are, that Impact in whatever generation, Dixie era, new Jeff Jarrett era, knew that if we feed them, we're doing something that nobody else is right now. And they've been brand loyalists for that for over a decade. And it drove Rob Terry. It drove Rockstar Spud. What's his name? Doug Williams. Those guys are great workers, but and Magnus too. Like you are instantly have a built-in diehard audience that wants to see one of their own get the fuck over. Grado, look how over Grado was in the indies there. And then even the great work he did. And then the money got fucked up in regime change. He went back and acted. I think there was some passport issues there too, but they're willing to support anybody, even if he's not a body guy and a comedy wrestler, if he's goddamn Godzilla like Rob Terry. I think it's one of the smartest marketing moves that Impact can make, is to really take hold of that. And I will gladly grow our platform with them. I think that's a smart side-by-side thing to do. But you want something impressive this week, go watch Impact, watch wrestling.la, and watch. It's kind of in the middle of the show. But really, the boss did a great fucking job, man.
Yeah, check it out.
Yep.
Please tell me, before we talk AEW Dynamite, please tell me that you saw NXT TakeOver.
Yes, but most of it.
My God, dude, I have not been as impassioned as a wrestling fan / observer in a very long time as I was during that main event with Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly.
I didn't want to shit on you for it because I know you loved it. There was so much.
My God, what a fucking spectacle of pro wrestling. I think they took in a lot of their Japanese influence, and kind of mixed that in. The psychology of this match was
anytime you're
absolutely perfect.
It was there. But when you're on the cell and you do that Dean Ambrose go down to the fucking bottom rope, come back to punch him, get my shit in bullshit, you just blew all the work in my heat that I tried to fucking lay on you because you wanted to get some sexy little fucking Tanahashi Josha Shushi shit in that I fucking didn't call or whatever. They think it's fucking cute. I hate that shit. Like, as a match,
come on.
It's fucking bullshit, bro. It's bullshit. It instantly makes everything look fucking Cirque du Soleil planned and choreographed, in my opinion. And they had a real fight going. And even off of the weird Shawn Michaels sit down that really should have amped up the personal stuff between them, they got that over in the match. I give them that. And it starts out, and this is my bitch about all these fucking guys. They are Adam Cole, awesome fucking chain wrestler, can tell a great story. Roddy Strong, same fucking thing, as good as anybody when it comes to being on the mat. This O'Reilly kid, they fucking show the mixed martial arts, and he's getting some stuff in. Bobby Fish, awesome Muay Thai worker. And even on the indies, I walked up to him, I go, dude, I've been training Muay Thai. I really like how you get your shit into the wrestling style, because a lot of people just do it egregiously, but you mix it in the right way. I've always fucking liked the way they do it. Every one of those guys, well, maybe not Fish, will get to minute 12 of telling a fucking awesome story when they want to go 16 to 18 to 20, and then they will turn on a dime and do that dumb fucking shit from New Japan and kill everything that I was into watching them work that, dude. It's brutal. Now, here's the third thing. Velveteen Dream and Marty McFly had the fucking
phenomenal.
Best match of the night. Without all the bullshit, he didn't need to come out as Dr. Emmett Brown or whatever. That's more New Japan style bullshit that needs to be wiped out of wrestling. Fucking to do that stuff, because we're trying to reinvent what's his name as a badass. Kushida as a badass, right? And this match would have been better without all that layers on top of it. They worked a phenomenal arm heat story. Then we come back, one match, and then the match after that, exact same arm fucking heat story, same stomps. Then we get to the main event.
What are you referring to?
It was girls. It was something.
Okay.
And then the main event with them, same fucking arm stomps, bro. Same shit. Like, what now? If none of the other matches did it, fine. And what should happen is either those guys aren't watching what's going on, or the agents, where we know everything's been planned out in WWE to the nth degree. We've watched it happen. The agents, how are they saying we're going to work 3 arm heat stories on a fucking show on payoff matches? Completely wrong. And the Adam Cole and them aren't watching Velveteen Dream's match because they're either on their phones or thinking they're over, they're in the back. But really, it's on Velveteen Dream and them to go to the main event and say, what are you working heat on? And then we fucking do it the other way. But really, this is WWE. So this all should have been thought out in meetings where every match, he's going to work the leg, he's going to do this. How is it happening that this is getting through agenting? Not even just the dangerous spots that we saw with Shotzi Blackheart almost dying this summer, mad times, but this type of stuff on a booking sheet, 3 payoff matches, all working arm heat. In developmental, it's not like it's compartmentalized like it is on the road with 28 writers.
Sure.
These mistakes there's no excuse for that.
I'll agree with you on 2 out of 3 points. One, I did notice as the night progresses, like, why is everybody working the arm? So that told me either they had everything already mapped out, and when you get to that point, I've been there, you have a choice as a wrestler to say, all right, they already did it. Do I continue to do it, or do I change it up? And sometimes you make the call, sometimes you don't. Obviously, these guys.
How good are you if you don't change it up in the main event after that?
I don't know. Now, the Velveteen match, I fucking loved. Velveteen Dream is a tremendous heel. What I loved about Dream was how much he sold for Kushida. He took the first, I've been explaining this to my class, where wrestlers go wrong from small indies and even sometimes to TV, is they think a shine is a 20-minute sequence of moves where they'll do a drop kick, a fucking hip toss, something else, then get cut off and beat up for a while. A true shine is just making the babyface look great, which Velveteen did for the better part of 8 minutes. He bumped his fucking ass off in a spectacular fashion, making Kushida, who's my size, look like a fucking monster. And then when Velveteen got the heat, he got the heat. He beat the shit out of him, and it crescendoed and went, so high that I was like, fuck, what's going to happen next on the show? Only thing I would have changed about that match, when Kushida was attacking them after, I was expecting them to do the Bret Hart, Jerry Lawler spot where they reverse the decision so Dream still keeps a little heat. I thought Kushida just should have never let go of the armbar. And finally, everyone comes out, and then the ref got to reverse it. So Velveteen leaves with his arm up, but everyone knows who won.
Here's the other thing with this cosplay shit. Why is Marty McFly beating the shit out of Doc Emmett Brown? Who does Marty McFly want to beat the shit out of? Fucking Biff Tannen. So, like, right away, we're telling a weird story with the cosplay stuff, too. And Kushida was a badass. And the fact that he's wearing the fucking Back to the Future shoes and that shit kills this stuff. This marked them for their little core audience at Full Sail. That is the AEW offshoot SJW audience of the New Japan. We got to stop putting them over. You are damaging properties. You are wasting millions of dollars selling for that kind of stuff. This match would have been so next level, and Kushida would have been bad as fuck if you would have took this little cartoony shit off from the time benders and calling his finisher the hoverboard or whatever. Like, no, we're done with it. We're done with that.
He did do away with a lot of that, man. The only thing that he kept was the vest. They worked like they were in a bunkhouse stampede match, despite Velveteen's knocking of them by wearing yellow gloves.
Why are we having a dude come out to sell for Back to the Future and this stuff? That is,
I think he was mocking him. It wasn't that he was, you know what I mean?
It lowered the stakes of this match, bro. It really did. Like, and this was my favorite match on the card. So, and like I said, with Baylor and Riley, did they elevate Riley? Is he out of being just the comedy guy in there? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But I'll never back down from the thing of, if you work 12 minutes of a story in heat and at minute 12, you're standing up trading elbows, you are an asshole in this business.
I don't agree with that statement. I respect your opinion, but I don't agree.
You're ruining everything else on the show you are lowering the believability of everything that just came before you by saying, look at all this heat I took, but I'm so strong that I'll stand in the pocket, no sell it, and go 50-50, because that's what Irishi Shoshashi did over there on fucking G14. Like, dude, done with it. Like, there is no wrestling psychology that sells that. After you start telling a story, you don't start telling a fairy tale and then cut to, it was D-Day at Normandy Invasion. You don't do that. You don't go from that.
What you got to understand, man, is that at one time a tackle, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss was the high spot. And this is something that was taught to you and countless others. So that spot that you don't like, or some variation of it, is becoming topical over the last several years, no different to the tackle, drop down, leapfrog, which at one point in time, the guys that came before was like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Why are they moving so fast? Why are they jumping over each other? I think it's the evolution. Why I enjoyed the psychology of that match is it brought me back to Rip in the retribution sense. If you watch it with the close eye, O'Reilly would work something on Finn, say the arm. Then Finn would retribute it. Then they move the heat to the ribs. Then they move the heat to the leg. So they were, despite that, we'll agree to disagree on that one spot. But despite that, they kept it centered around retribution and a body part story. And it was compelling and it was hard hitting. What I love about wrestling is when that line's blurred and the fans don't know whether something hurt or didn't. And I don't know either. Some of that shit looks stiff as fuck. Maybe they're great and they didn't touch them. Maybe they knocked the shit out of each other. But it had that air of suspending your disbelief. And what I got, I know you're not going to agree with this, but what I got from watching that, it felt to me a similar vibe to Brett and Shawn in the Iron Man match, where they were working holds, going toe for toe. And one thing that I know you can fucking appreciate, that match didn't have a dive. That match didn't have any drops on anyone's head. That match didn't even have any, I think it had one throw off the top, maybe, where Kyle did, I think, a double underhook. They sold
like a big setup. It was good.
Yeah. They sold a 30-minute match working holds and strikes and didn't do anything egregious. And by the end of it, I was fucking glued, man. Like I honestly sat in awe of that match because in a sense, that's the style of wrestling I work. You work a different style. You work your gimmick. You're a bit bigger for these smaller, and I'll include like Brett and Shawn in their day. For the smaller performer, trust me when I say that was a thing of beauty. For you and Hamin and what you do wouldn't work. But for a smaller performer, man, it was mind-blowing, and I got to give those guys props.
I'm down with that. I'll definitely sell for that. It's just that hole in all of their game, that ROH hole, that somebody convinced them that this was the future and the new right way. If you got to get that arm shot in, even on me, so they worked all that beautiful heat, like you said, the ribs, the da-da-da-da. If he would have even done the Moxley rock back, which I hate, and hit him to show how he's a cool guy who can do that stuff, then the dude sells and comes back again. If it's you on me, even, I'm going to take that, eat that, even as big as I am, 120 pounds heavier than you are. And fucking, I'm going out of the ring to go sell, because not only does it hurt and I want to sell for you, but I'm also evil and I want to lure you the fuck in to get back on top. You're obviously on top right now. If you fucking can come back at me with that, you're going to come back with whatever double axe handle. I'm going to fucking turn and I'm going to bow up and catch you. And then I'm going to put you right into the side of the ring, Corey. And then we can both go and sell from that. All this shit where we work it and then flip it and reverse it and come right back. Then if it went and hit them with the fucking shit and all that heat. As soon as I'm sorry, but it will never be an excuse like in a fight. If I was ragdolling you for 6 rounds, you're not going to come out in round 7 and go, I'm ready to fucking go now for real. I'm going to fuck this dude up. And that's exactly what they do every time. And there's no agent there that's stopping Shotzi Blackheart from doing her stuff. So there's nobody that's going to step up to these guys who are obviously the leaders of the locker room and tell them, come here, you got to stop doing that. We're not doing that anymore. Meanwhile, they'll scream at them if they look directly in the camera and break fourth wall. But the actual wrestling that needs to be fixed and could actually take that match, which was an A match, to an A+. Don't hear stars over there.
Right.
Over there.
You got a little robotic for a minute. I'm not sure if it's just my internet connection or if it's on the live feed. The one issue that I had with the match, which I've expressed my love for it, was the business they did at the end. We had this beautiful match, and then we're seeing that moment where are they going to embrace? Are they going to shake hands? And then we had big guy Ridge Holland come out and dump Adam Cole over the guardrail, setting up a story. What's the deal? Was Adam Cole faking it to get back at O'Reilly? Did he really get beat up? Where are they going? But I thought it took away from that drama of leaving the spotlight on Finn and Kyle. The only thing I would have changed, man, is maybe I would have shot that backstage. So right as they're going to shake hands, the screen hits and they look over and they see Ridge Holland whoop Adam Cole or throw him into the Undisputed Era's little hangout spot, and the boys are checking on him. And as O'Reilly's going to shake Finn's hand, he turns and looks. They look at each other. O'Reilly takes off to the back to check on his boy. Finn's left in the ring, so we never quite got that shake to see how much they respect each other. Only thing I would have changed.
Yeah, I'm with that, but I thought this was a good pay-per-view, dude. I'm not gonna lie. There's plenty of things that need to be addressed in the Performance Center work rate wise, just to cut these kids back from killing each other because they're not making the big money. They're not on the road. And as much as it feels like it's a third brand and they're losing a war, all they gotta do is switch TV nights, and that's just swallowing pride, and they can be back up over 1 million. But let's play it the smart way and the right way, and I can't wait to go work New Japan. They're going to love me there. But it's AEW Dynamite. I think that's probably the fastest way for me to get signed there, actually, to be honest with you, is to go to Japan. So Doma Arigato, Mr. Obato, let's do this. What's my first note? Aaliyah is so bad, needs acting lessons. Holy shit, that was, oh no, this is SmackDown. Sorry, guys.
Wait a minute, Aaliyah's on the show now?
Might as well be. But it's Jericho's 30 years of incredible work. Obviously, a phenomenal performer and artist. Yes, absolutely, hands down. I'm going 16-bit. What the fuck, man? I'm gonna drop out and drop back in.
There you go. Well, you looked and sounded a little bit better during that take. But yeah, man, Jericho's 30th anniversary show. I'm such a yes, I'm a fan of Jericho, but I respect him so much as a fellow performer for his contributions that this show is hard for me to really critique because it's a celebration of Jericho. It would be like me going to a party at his house and not thinking something was wrong at some point in the party and pointing it out to him. So I feel a little bit odd about giving critiques during the show, but I'll do my best to be as authentic as I can.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this plays right into both of us in our childhoods, as we've been in this business for 14, 15 years now, coming up on it anyway. This is a guy who influenced everybody. and I was always a mid-card guy, whether it was Mr. Perfect, Rick Rudes, all that kind of stuff that's what I loved. And him in WCW making gold with Ralphus, or even when I was the ECW mark and he came back over, was Pegasus Kid, or was that Benoit?
Benoit was Pegasus.
And he was
Jericho was the very short-lived Super Liger.
Super Liger, yeah. And then, Lionheart Chris Jericho. So been following it for a long time, and always just one of everybody's favorites who's been in this business. You're not going to, and again, for a small guy, a dude who could have been a 145 pounder became the undisputed champion, beating the two of the biggest names because of character, mic work, and just basic fundamentals. Nothing he ever did was crazy, risk-taking, dangerous, always able to take anything from a prop, a scarf, a jacket, the Y2K bug, a list, and get it over in 100 different ways, man. So this was really great. And they kind of knocked off. I wonder if they did it this way. I think he's big enough that some of them weren't. But they might have knocked off. They did knock off Impact, and they knocked off Raw. So I'll put all these out there, because Impact with Heath Slater, and this was a smart thing to do when they were doing Heath for Impact, trying to get him signed. He spent like $1,200 of his own money on cameos and had celebrities stumping for him. David Hasselhoff, Chuck Norris, bunch of people saying, hire Heath, he's the man, da, 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 da. And that brought a lot of, like, on the hashtag hire Heath, a lot of good marketing saying, shit, we spent $1,200. Look at this. Fuck it. Let's do that. This felt a lot like that. I'm sure they had people that he could just call as well, but I think some of them were, because of the way they were, letterboxed out into a square, would X out the cameo, which on Impact it said cameo in the bottom because it needed to look low budget. Here, I think they might have gone low budget, got it done, and fucking had all of those done, and they just blocked out the cameo stamp on the watermark on the bottom, which is smart. I'm not going to say it's not, but I think they ripped a lot of that from Impact right away. But we start the show off with wrestlers, Lance Storm, a lot of people paying respect to Jericho right out of the gate. And what kind of sucked, though, not sucked, but like they're asking best moments throughout the show. And every best moment they gave was kind of like an AEW moment. Like, this is where you have to break out and make Jericho bigger than the show of what it is. You know what I mean? He's the highlight of the night. So you need to put over him being undisputed champ, him versus with Kevin Owens on the whatever, like anything along those lines would have really fed into your fan base going, this is more believable than what it is. When you're talking about the Champagne Mimosa match being a highlight of his career, like, come on, dude. You mention Ralphus, mention all that kind of shit, dude. The Stephanie McMahon calling her trash bag whore or whatever the fuck. Like, all that kind of stuff is 1,000 times better than what they put over, and it would have been more believable.
And there's stuff you can say without saying it. You could simply say where he became the champion of the world by defeating the two biggest stars in the business. He main evented the biggest arena in the country, the biggest arena in wrestling. There are little details, and you probably could have used the name Ralphus. I don't think WWE would have taken too much offense to that. What the start was a bunch of the current wrestlers putting over Jericho and how they inspired him. And I thought it started a little oddly because I noticed the baby faces appeared to be breaking kayfabe, but they would later tie that in during the same video package where they had the baby faces, turning around the heat on Jericho, like Scorpio saying his favorite moment was him losing Orange Cassidy, and Jungle Boy getting back into character, and Sammy being in character the whole time. So they tied it together. I had a feeling for a minute like they were completely going to break kayfabe for the whole show.
Sure, man. He deserved that. He deserved that.
Think so?
Yes, dude. You're only going to get one shot at that. Why would you do it as a work? Ask for forgiveness instead of permission. You know what I mean? Maybe. Shake it up. Like, we don't need to be worked here. That's a payoff for our investment as watchers for 30 years. And now we're only going to get 12 months of that in the put over. Not the choice I would have suggested.
maybe we could have found a medium where they all spoke authentically about Jericho, and then it wrapped up with Jericho as if he just watched all of them sitting down, and then Jericho says something dickishness to kill. Well, of course they do. They all look up to me. Who wouldn't look up to Chris Jericho?
I want that too. Yep. Yeah. There's just, I mean, not wrong choices. There's just stronger choices, and that's what punching up and talking about shows in hindsight 2020 is all about. Almost every show I've ever written, you could fucking do the exact same thing. Oh,
exactly.
we thought we had max value, but we should have done it this way. It would have been even better.
Let's get them out the way, man. Like you said, we had some star-studded cameos. Maybe they were actual cameos or just the word cameo. We had Shaquille O'Neal, we had Dennis Miller, we had Gene Simmons, we had DDP, Lars Ulrich of Metallica fame, several others. Those are the few that come to mind, but a star-studded cast.
Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Slash. Yeah. Star-studded cast. And I think that may help AEW in the long run. It really showed the Jericho flexing his muscle. And they may have paid some of these guys, but I also follow Jericho. And I know a lot of those guys, especially the musicians, are personal friends of Jericho. So I'm sure just a quick call to Lars Ulrich.
Maybe, but I don't think so. I think it's easier. Here's what's easier. Go to Cameo, pay the fucking fee. He gets it. They're doing it right away because he does them every day. And off to the races we go. He might add a little extra because he knows you, but it's harder to make the call and be like, bro, can you cut me a video? Sure, I'll do it. A week goes by, the video's not done. You got to chase them. I think they bought the cameos and fucking letterboxed them all out. And so that's how I would have done it because of say, fuck it, I'm going to have time to chase these motherfuckers down. Vance Whalen makes a great point, dude. I got to talk about this as much as I think this girl has a ton of potential. Chris Statlander, who is home on injury because of foolish wrestling booking and surgery, cuts a video saying she's sad she can't be there for the 30th celebration, so she goes into the sing-along for Judas in My Mind. Dude, beautiful voice, beautiful girl. We're told she's an alien. Now she's standing in a one-bedroom apartment with Venetian blinds behind her that looks like any college dorm room, any shit place we've ever lived still as young broke wrestlers, right? With not a pot to piss in, while she stands there and sings Judas in My Mind for 2 minutes in a pretty cover. That doesn't make you look like a star. That makes you look like a fangirl, where they were doing fan cuts on this, don't get me wrong, from the boys, as it should be, but this killed the superstar. And she's been on the shelf, which means you get a chance at making another first impression as you come back. Now, this was what blew that. I haven't seen you since then, but now we had to go into business for ourselves on social media to get it over. Maybe the office requested it, but
probably
this was brutal. And if anything, the only way to save this right now is to let her. I wouldn't turn her into a full fangirl, and I would turn her into kind of a blonde version of Scary Sherry for Jericho, to be honest with you, because the alien thing, you can't go booping people on the nose, which was cute enough in the beginning to get you over, but that stuff is got to be beyond you now. You can't come back with that. That's not going to work. So I would go off of this mistake. I would elevate her into the girl of the inner circle, because these types of things are embarrassing that they allow themselves to. And she's young, she's going to do what she's told and whatnot, but that's not protecting your business at all.
Hey, who was the brother that made that statement a minute ago? I saw pop up in the chat.
Vance Whalen.
So I'll ask this to both of you guys. Were you watching the fight version or whatever that is, or were you guys watching the TNT version? Because I never saw this Statlander piece.
No, this was just online on her social media.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm not on social media right now. So yeah.
Right. So like out of the way, and it was pretty but awkward too. We have a view of you in our minds as a star and what you need to be, and it just shows that they're not even thinking about their business all the time. It really just made her look like a fan, a pretty fan.
That's the thing, man. Like, I'm not going to get on too big of a soapbox and go forever on this, but it is a theme in wrestling. We've yet to figure out the formula with social media, how to separate our personal and business lives and keep an air of mystique, much like the world in a larger concept has not quite learned how to use social media productively. And we get all the infighting and we get the fake news and we get the political money that comes behind it, and we get presidents elected, we get Brexit because of social media. I was in England when it happened, and a lot of people didn't want Brexit to happen. So much like the rest of the world, the wrestling world hasn't quite figured out. They figured out how to advertise with social media and get over, but they haven't figured out that paradox. If social media was around in 91, we would have never had The Undertaker. If he chose to go on board. Like
Brodie Lee is the only one I can see that is using it in any way where he goes, it's Tuesday, you know what that is? And then everyone runs their mouth. It's Wednesday, you know what that means? He doesn't sell for and put over. That's a guy who knows his value and is as a star and will continue to look like a star because of that. It's all these little things. And it's even when they have to go in on each other for it. And the social media aspect of this is interesting. We'll jump ahead. Brodie shouldn't have lost this dog collar match. That was the wrong call. Do you think it's because of that promo he cut 2 or 3 weeks ago where he went in on Brandy because of the bikini stuff? And this is the heat from The Office really trickling over into shoot promos, and that because of that and whatnot, he went under on this match?
It's a tough call, man. I don't quite know why he lost. Unless they wanted Cody going in as champ for this anniversary show. And it's a tough spot. The first comment that I heard after the match was, oh, Cody put the title back on himself. But we don't know if that's true. There are like 5 hands there that are putting the show together, right? You got the EVPs, you got Tony Khan, you got input from guys like QT, Jericho. So it could have completely been a situation where Khan or someone else said, we want the belt back on Cody. And he may not have even asked for it, but because he is Cody and an EVP, a lot of the minds go right to Cody put himself over, like Dusty. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect in the finish, which is good in a sense, and we'll cover the match later. But I don't know, man. I'm indifferent. It felt a little weird, Brodie losing and Cody winning, but I don't know what the right call was, other than to put that match on pay-per-view.
That could be TNT pressure. I just think about that promo where he went in a little bit too real on the executive bikini officer who's supposed to be the marketing officer, and kind of saying some things that we've heard through the cracks that as much as they didn't want. I put him over huge last week, and I stand by that on how I think about Cody and his work ethic. But now that you're at that level, it's a different game when you're in charge. It's a different one. And as much as you say you don't want to be Triple H and stuff, it's pretty much echoes the same thing, right? And then here comes the resentment, the big dogging, the jabs and this, that, and the other. And then we'll see who has real power backstage when they put somebody over on somebody. And it feels like, why did we do that? Well, here could be a laundry list of reasons why. So
it's certainly possible, bro. Like, if I was working there, I would give Cody my honest opinion if he were to ask me on his performances or segments. But in my own segments, I certainly would toe a line with him and all the other EVPs. And a line like that, I would definitely clear and say, hey, bro, would you be cool with me saying this?
Right.
Then again, Brett and Sean said the same thing, and we saw what happened.
They might say, yeah, go say it. Sure. No, I got no problem with it. Just so later they got that trump card to play. They can take the punch now, but are you ready when the receipt comes when you're not looking for it, right? And it's always the one you get knocked out on is the one you never see coming.
That's right.
So
Willie Hobbs.
Yeah, man. Wow. What a truck, bro. What a truck this guy is. Hobbs versus Cage, dude. 2 big bastards right out of the gate. And I like this match because, there's Cage is doing a little bit too much athletic stuff. Tackle drop down.
I agree.
He's doing tackle drop down. All he has to do is turn, pivot, and hip toss the motherfucker. That's the believable move, not watch me do this. And, maybe Cage still don't know, man. I don't know. With Taz and them around them, I don't know how this stuff is still happening, but there was a lot of good in this match. Cage just needs to stop doing so much. Just stop, dude. Everything is visual. You look like a statue come to life. We don't want our statues to be super athletic, fucking all that as well. You have a part to play. It's awesome you can do that stuff, but your career will actually go longer, safer without taking extra risks in doing that. So let's really dial it back. But both these guys are massive human being, like blue chip specimens of what they should be. There's just some Hobbs no sells in here that I think is just him being young and green, but really looked good and super athletic. One thing that got me hot though, Excalibur puts over in the middle of the match that him and his brother had a dream to come to wrestling and that and be his manager, and fucking that his brother was killed protecting Hobbs in a shootout someplace, and took a bullet for him. Dude, that is the fucking entire pre-tape, and you just gave it away while he's fucking got him up on the ropes. And people, yeah, honestly, he was selling. Like, this is the entire story, and you just shotgunned it, man. Like, I would take Excalibur off camera for that. And people were asking last night in the watch along, Excalibur's still hired, dude? I thought he got fired for all that stuff. So not only that, but the guy doesn't know how to do business to be like, this is the heart of our story. Let's have the match. Not even that. The pre-tape should have been done before this guy ever wrestled. So we're doing things out of order, because that would have endeared the shit out of him to me, for me to watch that pre-tape last week. Next week, Hobbs is going to fight, and he comes out and goes, kisses and points up to the fucking sky for his brother, and we all know the story. Now we want fucking Hobbs to go over 10 times more before the bell even rings. Instead, this half-masked cocksucker is giving away my business on camera just to get himself over and tell the story half-assed. I was, if you can't tell, I was red hot in that moment right there, bro. Red hot.
I wasn't hot in it, but I certainly felt awkward. Those were very strong emotional words, and those words should have come out of Hobbs' mouth. He's the one that tells that story. I feel like that is the equivalent of publicly coming out of the closet for someone else. That's a moment that they need to share, come out when they're ready on their terms, how they want to say it. If I'm your friend and, I know you're still not comfortable sharing your sexuality with the world, you'd be pretty pissed if I just said, you know what, hey guys, don't worry about it. He's my bro, but Hamin's gay. Like, you'd be like, what the fuck, dude? It's my story. This was Hobbs' story to tell. And I did not like Excalibur selling it either. I'll double down with you on that. It was not a good call.
Brutal, dude. I mean, it's right here in the notes too. What the fuck? Excalibur stooging, bad choice. And
just so the fans can see, our notes are equally shitty. Handwriting is terrible.
I write so angrily, bro. I write so pissed off. Taz then gets up after they go over. It was a good finish, big bull finish. I didn't mind it of how it ended. But Taz gets up afterwards and does the exact same thing MVP is doing that's epically failing on fucking Raw, which is recruiting for a clique of badasses who then don't look like badasses. He fucking tells them, you got one choice, brother. You can do this, or if you don't choose choice A, you can choose AB3, brother. And fucking we're like, okay, so they're going to beat him up, or he's going to be. And then who comes to the rescue of the big hosses? The fucking 130-pound kid with a skateboard, and the fucking 300-pounder and the super jacked other guy like half get out of the ring to sell for him, dude. That is, I don't understand how Taz can allow that kind of stuff to go on. It is a brutal visual just to set up a stupid little fucking tag match for next week with Darby and Hobbs versus them that isn't going to mean nothing. And it just buried everything. It was bullshit bad, and they're copying an MVP storyline that's not working on Raw. So let's do it over here. It sucks there. What do you think we're going to do here with it, dude? Like, two really, really bad choices to end this scene, where these two hosses are the complete business and the highlight of going, look at the size of these. The whole purpose of this match is look at the size of these motherfuckers we have. Finish, scene. Anything past that is wrong.
I shared a lot of similar questions when I was watching that. For the match itself, it was two hosses, butting heads, and we saw some cool moves and Cage showing freakish strength. I agree with you in the sense that Brian does too much. I think Cage, for all his talents and abilities, I think Cage perceives himself kind of like a cruiserweight. And they proceeded to have an Evolve style match. And I don't mean Evolve in the general sense. I mean Evolve as in the former company Evolve. They had like an Evolve match of guys that are under 200 pounds, minus some of the flips, even though we did have a few flips. The match itself was fine. I didn't really have problems with it. The only thing it missed, I feel like, was real emotion. I wanted to see the emotion come out of both of them, that they really wanted to hurt each other. And I had questions too, man, when the Darby thing happened. Here's a smaller wrestler. He came out with the skateboard and both heels powdered off. I was expecting a possible swerve where maybe Hobbs jumped Darby from behind.
He didn't even powder. Ricky Starks just stood on the apron and then jumped on one. He showed the skateboard. Here's my grip tape with a bone on it. What the fuck am I watching, dude? I would have shoved that skateboard up his ass sideways and thrown him over the top rope.
And the second question of that is, you could see Brian Cage leaving when Darby was in the ring in the middle posing for the hard camera. We could see Brian Cage leaving, and he had his FTW belt on his shoulder. Sometimes, what do heels use a title belt as or for?
As a weapon, usually to fight and get back. I've used mine.
So you had a giant Brian Cage with the weapon, and you had a smaller Darby with the weapon, and you had Will Hobbs, who had just been defeated by the claw hammer or whatever devastating finish. I don't know why the call was made to then make Cage a chicken shit heel kind of, or smaller. It's just, I don't know. I got questions.
Guy who's 375, 2% body fat ever be a chicken shit heel? No way, dude. Unless it's Andre with the snake phobia. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I'm not gonna say it's bad.
Is he terrified?
I just have questions.
Skateboards? Do you think he's terrified of skateboards? So that could be it.
Maybe he tried it at 13 and got injured, and ever since
he could never land the kickflip, and now he's all upset about it. But dude, yeah, that was again, and this echo that's got to be Khan. That's got to be Khan making that call. And just like as we'll get to the end of the dog collar match, another brutally, not just the finish, but terrible call to further business.
Speaking of dog collar, is that Boz in the back there jumping in?
That was Lola Zola. Grace has been loud today. Boz, he's creeping today, man. He's doing all right.
I did like Willie Hobbs' gear in this, and I see a lot of potential on Willie Hobbs. I'd love to be there kind of as a coach on his shoulder, to go over some of the small details that Hobbs is yet to learn and will develop over time. Because his gear looks great, and the guy's got unlimited potential. Now we just need to fine tune him and give him those details that make him TV.
Who's going to get over more or bigger quicker? Keith Hobbs or Keith Lee or is it Will Hobbs?
Will Hobbs and Keith Lee.
Hobbs, Keith Lee.
Keith Lee, just because he's more prepared.
Oh, well, I've got to see Hobbs' promo still, because Lee's is not quality.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Hobbs talk.
Grace is talking. She won't shut up.
Grace, what's up? Yeah, so we go to our tag match from there. Tag titles on the line. We've got FTR,
Jack Evans, and Helico. We see these guys sparingly. And I don't know, with all the buddy favors that have happened and how deep the roster is, these are two guys that I expected to kind of not be seen on TV again. But they need to do get-over matches for the Brush with Greatness FTR stuff. So this was a good choice for a get-over match here. Now, the fact that they went 16 minutes, not a good choice. So these guys can go, and they've been over in Mexico, but it's up to FTR to look strong. This mark out pull time doesn't impress me as wrestlers. If you're good wrestlers, you beat guys quick. You don't let them take you to places you don't need to go. It looks like bad strategy to me, tag team wrestling wise, for them. Like, I know there's a 20-minute time limit or whatever, and that's the magic of this, but like, or whatever they think the magic of it is, but it's all right to beat guys in 4 minutes. It helps you look strong, and it helps you look like you're on a same page as your tag partner and you had the right strategy. Not everybody's got to go fucking pull time, dude, because when you do that, it just becomes bland and vanilla, and we know it's going to be 13-16, and I don't need to come back and watch the 10 minutes in the middle. I just got to watch the beginning and the finish. So for guys who are supposedly the dudes who get it the most, they really don't know how to get over on TV. They're just happy to be on TV and want to pull time. They think pulling time means you're a great wrestler. But in a fan's eyes, the longer you go with people who they think are lackluster, that just work AEW dark, that lowers your bar. Some guys you got to beat quick. And these are guys they should have beat quick.
I agree with you. I would have liked to have seen a shorter match, and I do think they should have beat them a bit quicker. As far as the time allotted, I have to think that was more on the booking side that told them. I don't think the Revival necessarily said. They might have, I don't know, but I feel like that was more of a booking call. As for the match, they did some cool shit. We had some really cool spots in there. Sure. The Revival, for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent, they went out of their way to put these guys over and give them a bunch of moves and stuff. It was a lot. I thought there was a lot in the first match with Cage and Hobbs, but there was really a lot of stuff in this match. And as you said, to put it as delicately and respectfully as I can, the Hybrid 2, they're talented individuals, but they have not been showcased as stars, as a championship team. Mm-hmm. It had been completely different had they been treated like, say, the Best Friends. So despite the Revival's best efforts, I believe very few people at home thought that these guys had any chance of winning. So when they kept going, I feel like everybody was kind of waiting for the inevitable, which was for FTR to win. So it was a bit too long. JR had a couple good calls. One of them, when Jack did a real cool flip dive onto the floor, JR was like, well, what sense does that move make? He took out his own man. Yeah. And he had a point. I was kind of like, well, he did. But here's my biggest, if I'm going to shit on something today, without regard, it's going to be Tony Schiavone, whom I love dearly. We didn't get to hear my thoughts on it, but we had the super kick heard around the world last week where the Jacksons, aka the Young Bucks, super kicked Tony Schiavone during an interview, which I hated when they did it to Marvez. I hated it even more when they did it to Tony. To my knowledge, that was probably the first bump Tony's taken. I'd never seen anybody bump Tony. And no. Tony's a 62-year-old man. Tony, it wasn't his fault. He's going along with the plan. I think it's wrong to do, and I don't use the word wrong often on the show because I look at wrestlers as artists. I may not understand their art, but I feel like that was wrong in the sense because there's no way that Tony's ever going to get back over on it, or at least it doesn't seem to be planned. You're hitting him for the sake of hitting him, not to go somewhere else. So I feel that's wrong. So Tony's back on commentary. We don't hear anything about it until during this tag match when the camera goes back to the Young Bucks watching the match. And I believe Excalibur, somebody, or JR points out, well, we haven't addressed what happened last week. And Tony gives kind of a weak, I don't think Tony really knew how to answer it because he probably feels like I do. It shouldn't have happened. He's, something about, I know how angry they are about FTR and, they shouldn't do things like that and something should be done. And then JR said something logically like, yeah, they should be suspended or kicked out of the company. Like JR put logic to the situation. And I'm just thinking like poor Tony, and as much as I like them and talented performers they are, kind of shame on the Young Bucks. I know they did the shit on the indies when they super kicked the little kid and stuff, and that's cool on the indies. I had no problem with it. But when the tag team superstars both give a move to 62-year-old Tony Schiavone after the Marvez thing, and he's back on TV the next week just fine talking about it, why did we do it? What did it accomplish? This week, at least they super kicked the cameraman, hopefully a worker who knew how to take it. And, it was what it was. But I just don't know why.
Or I'll give you the version from Khan's mind. We want to turn the Bucks heel. Heels need heat. Who's loved? Tony Schiavone's loved. Let him kick Schiavone. Now they'll be over his heels. And that's all we care about. We don't think about Schiavone or how the payoff or how, like, Khan is not at that booking level to be thinking about how all the worlds intersect and how the side stories need to. You're 100% spot on. If they wanted to do it and we're actually gonna, like, we had to make that move to bump Schiavone and whatnot, Schiavone's down, he's hurt, and now this week he's fine. But, like, let's say it's last week and we want to further the scene, we're actually going to take care of business where the Bucks have heat and we actually want something out of Schiavone because we do love him and we'd like to see him interact. Schiavone's down. Who comes in to fucking check on him and save him? Just happen to be why.
Do you mean wrestler wise or announcer wise?
Who's his main story been with up to this point?
Britt
and Reba find him. Schiavone's now in a wheelchair, just like Britt was, and they've decided
he has to go to the dentist.
They're gonna take care of Schiavone. How could this be? So even as heels, they're trying to do that, and Schiavone's in neck traction with his arms out, and like he can't do anything. You know what I mean? Comedy galore could have come out of that. We could have gotten 8 more weeks of what that game was that we liked out of that, based off that. But we're not even thinking about him being more than just a sacrifice to get the Bucks turned heel where I want him to go, because I don't know about how to do that over here yet. So there's tons of opportunity. There always is. But nobody's
with logic for the Marvez thing, they paid out the fine. For Tony, I think they paid out the fine.
Yep.
But then for the cameraman, Nick reaches into his pocket, realizes he doesn't have cash, and says, forget about it. So now there's no fine, and they're the EVPs, but it wasn't addressed.
There's something fine as hell right there.
Something fine as hell in the house.
Miss Genocide, how are you, dear?
I'm good. How are you?
I loved watching your paint tutorial. It was really great stuff. You're just kicking ass and keep creating.
It was his idea.
Yeah, well, most of my great ideas are his, so don't ever give him credit. Just take them for your own, and
like everyone else does.
Like, you're exactly right. Yeah. You talking about the show last night? Where are you guys at?
We're on the tag match. We're on match 2.
Match 2. Okay.
Well, I'll pop you in if you want to say what's up on the women's match.
All right. I just got off. I got that corporate vibe going.
Right on.
This is way more exciting than that. Anyhow, have fun.
I'll buzz you in. My last thing on the Bucks was, like, they're the EVPs, so it wasn't addressed on that level. So are they EVPs running amok? Like, and Young Bucks, I love you guys. This is coming from a place of love. I remember you guys from ROH 10 years ago. You were super cool in the fucking back to me and everyone else. Good humans. You guys are fantastic workers. I love your fucking spirit, how you said fuck you to everyone and changed the game. I respect the hell out of both of you guys. But please stop doing that kind of thing with it's not going anywhere. You're wasting your time. And, Tony Schiavone at 62 taking the, like, boys, you guys can do so much shit, but that ain't it. It's not a place of disrespect I'm coming from. There's something wrong with it. So before you do it again, maybe just put some thought on where we're going from here.
Yeah. What do you think about his sexy, chocolatey brown hair now that Matt's dyed his hair from dark black to brown? What'd you think about that, huh?
I thought it was a bit sexy. I thought he was flicking it.
It was sexy. So we had FTR up, obviously. Bucks do all this, that, and then the Best Friends Forever come out and debut their new Wiener shirt. So what, are you going to get yourself a Wiener shirt or what?
I might get the tank top that Trent had.
Oh, word up. they're getting over comedy wise. I can respect it and doing what they want to there. People like were shitting on it and they did the funny little pre-tape. So if they're going to call you comedy wrestlers, play into it. Let them underestimate you. Now you can play both sides. Sometimes you can use that as a, look over here trap. Meanwhile, you're about to get really hardcore with it. Like we saw in the parking lot. There's some things that are just too much for the, man-child crowd fan base of AEW, but there's some things that are smart and funny that could lead to good little scenes inside of our universes that we create.
Yep. One last detail of this match, and it's a theme throughout the show and wrestling that I know that you subscribe to because we sat under the same learning tree a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
We got to wrestlers gotta stop with the fucking clothesline comeback every time.
Oh yeah.
The only person on the show who used the clothesline right all night was Serena Deeb because she knows this lesson. We had Angelico, who's an athletic performer. He can do some amazing stuff. Angelico's not exactly a body guy. He's very tall and wiry. He doesn't have much muscle mass. When it came time for his tag, just like we see in so many other matches, he's throwing clotheslines with, his arm that doesn't look like Brian Cage's, and he's bumping Wheeler, who is jacked and huge, phenomenal, a big specimen, and he's bumping him all over with clotheslines to get into the other cool shit in his comeback, which he did some good stuff, and he got a real cool transition into a submission in that looked great. Then he hooked the other one, kind of lost me a little bit, but
yeah.
We got to stop this. Imagine if every single match, everybody did the same moves. Who would be who? Like the clothesline thing. I know this comes from Rip's teaching, but I subscribe to it 100%. These matches, there so many of them just tonight alone. Soon as somebody gets a comeback, they're throwing clothesline. Like, do something else.
Why that happened and why that took over. So it was right around our time that it started. And I don't want to say it's Al Snow's fault by any means. It's more FCW, I think, when it left OVW. Because when it was Kern and Ace, they had a whole group of kids and they had to get over as their teachers and show them the way to do things. So when you're teaching the comeback, it's a rhythm. Ba, 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 right? So what do you do on the bump feed? And everyone can have a different one like that. So it could be fucking clothesline, hip toss, drop kick, and then here comes the big fucking whatever, fucking ass man fucking leg gimmick, right? Whatever it needs to be. But they're trying to teach that bump, feed, bump, feed, bump, feed. So the easiest way to do that is to take AJ Lee, is to take Charlotte Flair, is to take fucking Brian Cage and teach them clothesline, bump, feed, clothesline, bump, feed. So that just started becoming a thing in their matches. They never taught them clothesline, hip toss, drop kick. They never taught them scoop slam.
How about some punches?
Clothesline, yeah, punches, boom, wah. So that in around 2009, 2010 started to become a standard in WWE, which would then trickle down to shitty wrestling because they just people like them are emulating what they're seeing on TV to get signed and don't know that each one of those wah is your opportunity as an artist in the ring to do something different than what everybody else is doing. You can do slam, leg drop if you want. You know what I mean? As long as they feature two when you get them on the three, but nobody's doing anything. So anytime you see clothesline, something, and for a while we were seeing clothesline, and it was brutal. But they were just teaching rhythm with that. And that's something that trickled into the indies and is completely rotten. I agree with you 100%. So,
I mean, what year did you get into wrestling? Did you get involved in the business end of it?
I started coming down in the end of 2005, and I moved right as the year changed over in March to 2000.
Okay. So around 05, 06.
Yeah.
So I got in a few years earlier. I started milling around at 01, and I had my first real match in 02. Mm-hmm. Even at that time, that was happening. I remember a point in my time working out in the ring with guys, doing that myself, and calling it to other people. Even early in my career, because I'd watched so long and was an amateur, I had solid movements. So I became a leader quickly. So I remember telling other people, okay, for the comeback, give me clothesline, clothesline, clothesline. So that shit's been around for a while. And I didn't learn what was wrong with it until I met Rip. One of the most valuable lessons that I got, and I'll never forget it, was from Joey Mercury around 2008. And despite, some of the things that Joey's done as a human being, his wrestling brain is up there with some of the very best. He watched one of my matches where I got the tag and I did some moves. I did like a head scissor, a Rana, something else. And I asked Joey how it was because I thought the moves looked cool. And he was like, why would you do that? I was like, well, I'm a cruiserweight. And Joey said, if somebody's beating up your friend for a few minutes and then you got a chance to beat the guy up that beat your friend up, would you head scissor him? No. What would you do? You would punch him. You would kick him. So from that moment, I got that. So the way a comeback I feel should be is at first we're going to retribute. When we come in, we're going to give the heel back what they were giving us. We're going to beat the shit out of them. Once they're neutralized, we create our rhythm. And those punches could even be part of the rhythm. They could be bumping on your punches if you're big enough. Then we get into doing the cooler shit, but we give it back to them first. And you're right. As an artist, a lot of people are missing the mark on what could make them so unique and different. Bret Hart, I think, has one of the best comebacks ever, and it was unique to him, and it extends over 2 to 3 minutes, whereas this clothesline comeback is 15 seconds. You get beat up for 3 to 5 minutes, and then your comeback is 15 seconds. I know if you and I fought, and I whooped your ass for 3 minutes, and you whooped mine for 15, and then the fight got broke up, everyone's going to say Silvio's the winner. But wrestlers ain't thinking the same way.
Right. I'll lay out for you. Just pay me the right amount. I don't give a fuck. I'll make you look good. Let's see. They have the best friend wieners. We got that. Here's the other thing on the show that's again a rookie booking mistake, and I wish I was Khan's big brother on this stuff. We at the end of that match, the wieners come out and do the thing. At the end of the Hoss and cage match, out come those guys, and then at the end of the dog collar match, out comes Orange Cassidy. Like the same thing to further business every time. Like you can do it once maybe on a show, not 3 times. You can't work heat on the arm in 3 matches. You can't yes and at the end of a scene. The pin is the finish, the payoff. It's the psychological relief that psychology builds to. When you do stuff after the pin, it's saying that's not the business of this match at all. That's okay if you're doing it 1 time and you want to further a storyline. If you do it 3 times, it waters down each and every one of those, so nothing means anything out of those.
You're right. I didn't even catch that, and I usually do see things like that. I just had a little bit of a weird vibe inside, and I wasn't sure what's causing it, but it very well might have been that. You're right. It was a lot of the same.
So then we get Cody and Brodie and an awesome looking dog collar match. They intro Greg the Hammer Valentine to pay respect to him and Roddy Piper. And they even reference it, certain spots that are the nostalgia spots that are in there generationally. I don't have a problem with any of that. This match was hard hitting, brutal, red equals green. I felt a little bad for him at the end when they did the super kick and he was trying to be safe and he missed him and he sold and he had to come back in for him. That's just part of the game, man. When you're at minute 20 in a thing like that and you're trying to be safe, but the guy's 6'6", 6'8", man, like something's going to miss once in a while. And that's just like, as a performer, you're like, fuck. It hurts. It hurts.
Sweat, blood, a chain dangling at your feet,
It's tough. Things are going to happen, man. So I felt a little bad for the brothers on that one. But what was weird in this, like we said, Cody going over, is it because of heat of that promo? Is it because of TNT wants Cody as their guy? They really love him. That can be the office call that way. Mm-hmm. Is it because Khan loves Orange Cassidy and he wants to put the belt on him to do that? So we're setting up this match after a payoff. What's not right? How strong Brodie went over on Cody the first time in just a flat match. Now in a gimmick match, it takes him 20 minutes. That means to me, Cody needed to use the chain a lot more as an equalizer than what he did. Get in close, make it a whip, start whipping him with it. All that kind of stuff needed to happen. There was violence in here, sure, but there needed to be more if you're going to support that 4-minute get over. That Cody needs to use this to his advantage a lot more instead of a 50-50. Let's just do spots on this. So the booking of the match, if you didn't know the beginning, was okay. But if you do know the beginning, then it's not suiting the psychology to make Cody do this the right way. And it should have been Brodie up. We've already effed him over with the first pay-per-view pinfall to kill his thing that way. Then we made him into Vince McMahon. Then we turned him into the Dark Order to save that. He's done as much as he can with that. Here's the chance to really let him shine. Heels need to be up here. Cody is better with empathy, chasing everything than he is as the champion. That's the magic of Cody. You want him to win and come underneath as the underdog. That's Dusty Rhodes' working man entire fucking id. And that's in there with him. Instead, we keep getting these big, glorious, victorious wins of slaying the dragon. Cody can go into any cave and slay any fucking dragon. There's no dragon that can beat him. You know what I mean? And if you're beating every dragon, what's that mean? Dragons aren't shit at the end of the day. So this marching out Dustin and the wife and the crew and we're all around him and I'm with you fans and it's the fans till the end. Like, that's not the right business, dude. And Cody should, and I'm going to challenge anybody. And now I just beat the biggest dragon in the fucking locker room. And who's going to get marched out? A little fucking nothing dude who puts his thumb up. We just did a whole fucking epic battle. And now we're going to a comedy, indie thing, which has its own little world. There's no problem with that world of the Orange Cassidy world. But you don't introduce that on the epic battle that we just watched right here, Game of Thrones. It's like Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm being on the last episode of Game of Thrones in the go home. It's dumb.
As I usually do, I'm going to give them a bit of rope here, and I don't know if it's the right or wrong call. I'm going to see where they go from here. That's where it will determine. I don't think that Orange should win that match against Cody. However, if he loses to Cody, does that undo Jericho's work of that program he did for months to get Orange over? Again, we're going to have to see. Talking about the match itself, it was brutal. We had our first double juice, I think, in a very, very long time on television or on a mainstream company. The boys worked their asses off. That shit hurt. Chain was real. It hurts. They beat the shit out of each other, and it was a good match. I like the Doctor and Greg Valentine being introduced at the beginning of the match. Really, the only issues wasn't really the performers involved. It was some of the outside circumstance. The stuff with Silver at the beginning, I kind of wanted to see him go away, and then he did go away. I don't know why we had to interject Silver there to get busted open and get bumped twice. And then we had the other guy come in for Double A to get his spine buster in, which everyone loves when Arn does a spine buster. But if you look at the way Arn landed, Arn ain't a young boy anymore.
And then a phony punch so he doesn't hurt Arn, like that gut punch. Even though Arn sells like that, those are egregious things just to for their own stuff to get in. Let's really when Dusty did it, or when Piper and Valentine did it, were they getting fucking who would it be, Pat Patterson to feed in for them and get their little spots in? No, that is where wrestling turns into somewhat mark shit, fanboy shit of the guys in the ring. And we got to stop that as professionals. I get you want to use them, but I don't think it's the right thing to do, man.
Yeah, I would have just had that. That's the time to be selfish. I just would have had them two going at it in the war it should have been. And they did a great job as performers. I got tons of respect for both of them. The Arn thing, I just don't like seeing these legends getting put in danger. The Silver thing. We had Cassidy come out at the end. I thought Cody cut a damn good promo. I know you weren't necessarily big on the vibe of it, but I really liked the promo. The Cassidy interaction, not as much, but I enjoyed the promo.
They had to say, I mean, the promo was there, and I was like, okay, he's up, and that's the promo to do. End it. Nope. Cassidy. Okay, we just lowered everything again. Like every time you take a step away from what that finish just was, you're lowering the bar of everything that just happened and just letting the air out of the balloon a little bit. I don't know. Here's the improv tip. Del Close, every fucking professor ever had the stutter in him. Edit at the high point. What's the high point? The finish right there, then not the fucking go. Like Orange Cassidy is not the high point after that. So when you miss the edit too in an improv scene, you can feel it. It's like running for the bus and off it fucking goes. You're like, fuck, that fucking feeling. It's fleeting. You're not going to get them to stop and go away. And that's exactly what I felt at the end of this scene. But
the biggest problem, Ben, with this match, and again, this was outside of the performer's control. You didn't watch the TNT version, did you?
I don't know, whatever. Watch wrestling.la's good.
Okay. So Cody neutralized Brodie by performing a package pile driver.
Yeah, I saw it. That was fucking stiff. So yeah, I have a picture-in-picture, yeah. And
it was in picture-in-picture. It was during break. That moment needed to be widescreen, and I don't understand what happened to why they didn't communicate. I know if Cody had his choice, he would not have done that during picture-in-picture, nor would Brodie. So I don't know why that happened. But I think it was hurtful that it did.
You know why it's happening, dude. There's a lack of management on how to make a show, having the showrunner the right way. You've done the job. I've done the job. Man Beast has. Power has. These are the things where you have a 4-man crew where we're all together, and then everyone goes and does this to make sure Cornbread's in the right spot, that Jason Frost is going to catch this, that these girls are going to enter at the right time, that we're going to commercial here. The ref knows that to tell the guys that way so we can go into the hold. None of that is getting done, obviously. So
nobody told them they were in break. I don't think they would have done it if they knew.
No. You know? And it's not on them, but it is on them because one of them is the vice president, and one of them studied under Al Snow and has seen all this done the right way. And if we can do it at developmental with no budget and guys who have a heart, then guess what? If you're paying motherfuckers, there's no excuse for that kind of stuff to be happening ever.
Jenna, get ready to come join us, my dear, my love. And the only other issue before we introduce Van Muscles that I had in this is this match was so big and grandiose, and it wasn't on a pay-per-view. It was in the middle of the Jericho Appreciation Show on Dynamite. If it were to be on TV, which I think this should have been I think you should have had to pay to see this match. But if it was on TV, have it be the 1-year anniversary, and Cody's celebration means a bit more because of 1 year and everything else.
I'm with you.
The same thing happened last week. The show opened with Darby and Ricky Starks having a phenomenal match. Super fucking impressive. But they've been building all this heat for weeks and weeks. And then they get the opener, they kill it, and Darby goes over clean on Ricky Starks. Again, why wasn't that on pay-per-view, or at least it's a TV main event? So sometimes on this show, I draw some WCW comparisons. We had those moments where due to the ratings on WCW side, them being Monday night ratings oriented, they would give away so many of these epic clashes like Hogan and Goldberg they could have made money off of. I don't know if AEW is doing it to stay ahead of the ratings or another reason outside of that, but why wasn't Cody and Brodie dog collar match on pay-per-view?
I don't know. A catnip match. They're saving that. I'm not sure what
should it have been on television.
I think here's the thing, because I don't think it should have been on pay-per-view. My follow-up was, where do you go with Brodie from here? He's pretty castrated, bro. Should be your top guy, top heel. The only thing I can see is going back and doing a story inside the Dark Order where he's all pissed off and that Colt tries to calm him down, and it becomes him and Colt, and Colt takes over as the leader of the Dark Order after beating Brodie. But that means Brodie gets beat again by Colt in order to fucking do that. I can't see any spin out. We're back to square one with him, dude. Square one.
I'm not sure. I don't have the answer. I don't know where we go with Brodie from here.
Isn't that just befuddling in itself? I don't have the answer. A guy like me and a guy like you don't have the answer of where to go to elevate from there. If we're saying that, then that tells you that's the wrong finish. Wrong.
This is something that I've discussed on the show, and you've pointed out the same thing. We have a lot of matchups on AEW that are great star versus star matchups, but what are the consequences of he who loses the match? That's the hard, like with the Moxley and Archer and things like that, and MJF and Moxley. Like, it's great in a sense because we don't know who's going to win, but somebody is going to get hurt by the loss in some capacity.
That's
they
bad
do a
booking.
lot of that.
That's bad booking. The loss should almost further the storyline for the babyface more than it fucking helps them in the get over of the payoff. The loss, people are like, wins and losses matter. Yeah, guess what? Losses matter more than wins. I'm here to tell you that. Losses drive character and ids far more than a win does. The win is the payoff. So once we pay it off, we don't have any more id to fucking chase. So when people say that wins and losses matter, they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about 95% of the time.
Right. It's a tough call, and it's hard being the one that makes that call. If I had the stroke, I would say if somebody like that is going to lose, you got to have the exit strategy planned out before the loss. Otherwise, they may get lost in the shuffle.
Well, you don't have the stroke because I seen this girl's switch roundhouse kicks. So she's got all the strokes around here.
Rolling in here. Come on in.
Keep on rolling, baby.
Rolling. The lovely Genocide, Jenna Van Muscles, is in the house, you guys. Check her out on Instagram if you want inspiration every day. Watch what this girl's doing, putting in the 10,000 hours right now. You can see it in real time. Working on her new Genocide character, working on all of her mixed martial arts, working on her powerlifting, working on getting in the right shape to get ready for TV, to face somebody the caliber of the athletes that we're talking about next. And I could totally see it happening. Before we get into it, I do want to say, well, welcome, Jenna Van Muscles. Always lovely to have you.
So much. I appreciate the very kind intro. Much appreciated.
And
I'm glad someone notices my hard work out there.
We're always, everybody in this business sees everything. even if they're not liking it and whatnot, they see what's going on, and it motivates me to get off my fat ass. Say she's out there doing the switch kicks, I'm going to be out working on my Muay Thai steeds as well. So one girl who I put over a couple girls who are on the indies who are still not signed as top talent, who I see outshining other people who do have TV contracts. You're putting in all the work to be one of them. I'd love to see you and Holiday maybe get together and do something. I think she's a phenomenal character worker and a real shooter like yourself as well. I think that could be an awesome tag together. And Christina Marie, who's another one up here in the Northeast, who's a very hardworking and powerlifting talent as well. You three ladies are really doing something. Stay on that path, and it's surely going to pay off soon.
Yeah, hopefully the Mission Pro Wrestling grows into it, and Holiday is doing some work there. So definitely would love to have a tag match with her. So yeah. Who knows? I'm down to work with anyone. And for me, I've been around a while, but having the girls with experience is really what I need to help it get me better. You know, I've been looking to wrestle the guys more than the girls, just to help me like keep growing, you know, with my technical game. So, you know, I can be on the caliber of what the next match we're about to talk to, which I have such a girl crush on Serena. So, and watching her wrestle. So.
I agree fully. To me, she is the female version of Dean Malenko, WCW at its prime. Again, like I said, I would rather watch the mid card instead of big overblown things and dinosaurs and guys who thought they were entitled. And the way she wrestled last night reminded me exactly of Malenko. And I was kind of pissed still with the picture on this because her best part of her heat was during that as well. Now she worked a long heat too, like 5 minutes on her. and great wrist control, great back and forth to make Swole look strong as she should. And Swole's a thoroughbred athlete as well. There's no denying that. Swole has the charisma, so Serena only needs to play the straight man in this. She doesn't need to try and match that, and it's up to Swole to say, does charisma and all that swag equal technical prowess? Can that overcome that? So I thought this was a great story going into it, and an added bonus match right after this dog collar match. And then I would have put Swole up here too. I think that's the right use of Serena in showing that she can go with anybody, give them a great match. And even if she loses, you walked away feeling satisfied, getting some real top quality wrestling, not just women's wrestling. So
no, definitely. And starting from the top 2, this was only her second TV match. There was still yet no entrance. I didn't get to hear her, awesome new music she has. So again, for the AEW audience, maybe who doesn't know, like I would have really loved to see her have an entrance, So, that would have been nice to see her to make an intro.
And why aren't we getting a Serena entrance?
I think, I'll stooge, whatever. I'm going to talk to her an hour anyway. Serena, she worries about every detail like we all should. But whether it's gear or your entrance, what do I do? Come and put my arm this way or what have you. Deeb is made. She's been the NXT coach. She just hasn't had her time to shine in spotlight. And if we're the best characters that we are, it's just us turned up to 11, whether it's my political and conspiracy side in Hamin, your love for the martial arts, and obviously this outside fantasy world stuff that you love to incorporate as well. For her, it's the namaste yoga, the positivity and lifting other people up, and just being the girl next door that is cool and can kick it with the guys and can wrestle on the guys level. But meanwhile, keeping some femininity and positivity, there's not a lot there to really like go forward and connect with on your entrance. So I think going overblown isn't going to be the way for her. It's just being like, hey, we're familiar and I'm going to go out there and do this. It's up to her to let the people with big charisma like a Swole shine more. Do we want an entrance for her? Absolutely. Instead of just starting in the ring, that shows that you're more of a star. But what do we say once people get done with their entrance, especially when my match starts? then the bell rings.
We were all hanging out. Was Serena a girl or was she one of the boys?
Oh, dude, one of the boys, 100%, dude.
You're one of my boys, but you're also my what? You're my friend.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Serena's one of the boys, and she's a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
What worlds might collide with Serena being someone's friend?
Yeah, we could do plenty to get that over with her just being positive.
Oh,
I think you know what else you are to my Sil is
You are my tribal chief.
That's it. So that I think that's great because it's always about Serena just going, geez, or oh man, or popping Serena. That's when you will connect with her. When you can put her in a place where she's just laughing and having fun. And Serena likes hip hop too. Like show Swole doing something. If you want to go ethnic with it, let Serena get in on that. Just show little friendship things where she, even going against heels who are definitely outlined heels, show her putting them over. Hey, I'm looking forward to facing that person. They're serious business. Look at how badass and look what they did to them. But I think I've got enough experience to make it happen. There's not a lot of emotion in that, but let the other people, her no selling will bring out more emotion in the heels and baby faces she works with.
Could be, yeah.
I think that's the game.
I thought this was one of the top 3 women's matches I've seen on Dynamite. Again, Serena with a good performance. Arguably Swole's best match. I know you were watching the match and had some notes. You want to analyze the match?
Yeah, no, right away, Serena starting off with her with such a strong lockup, that's what I look for. Number one, you hit that and then I'm hooked. And then obviously Serena taking charge as the vet she is with her technical game and just, kind of out wrestling Swole here and showing her technical wrestling ability and just having her shine. Like that's where, to me, that's where, yeah, she didn't have entrance, but she'll sure as hell get someone just by watching the first 30 seconds of her work in a ring. So that's where she got me starting off with the match.
It's the opposite of me. I got to get over in my entrance with waving the flag and yalla and you shut your mouth. No, you shut your mouth. And then she doesn't get any entrance and the bell rings. She gets all done with wrestling. And that's fine because some people, why would we want 4 yallas, shut your mouths, and then his wrestling sucks? We want that once, and then we want, I don't really care, but this girl's wrestling is incredible. It's just the Baskin Robbins 31 flavors. Great wrist control, great back and forth stories of how they were chaining early on as well. I agree. My favorite part of this match, and Silvio and Dr. Ted always want to see a good hot tag, but we're in a singles here. And I get pissed off at the stupid double downs where a guy will be taking heat, throw a kick out of nowhere, and then they just fall down and collapse out of nowhere. Here we had a Rip Rogers 101 double down that not a lot of people see. And I remember it from class a bunch because I could do it because it was easy. But working heat on Big Swole. Swole's on the cell, shoots her across the ring, not a Vader whip, a real shoot into the corner. She takes a front buckle and Swole's kind of dazed. Serena comes in like she's going to deliver something from behind, but Swole, the timing is off, and she comes out just enough where Serena can't hit her clean and headbutts the back of her head into there, and they both go down. So Serena was going to try and get something, but the sloppiness of it is all part of that double down that way. So that I haven't seen anywhere except for Rip Rogers' class, and there it was in full force in the ring. So that made me really happy. The only thing I really
see that one.
Yeah, and I've showed that in class. You've actually been witness
The double
to that
bump.
one before.
the double bump, bing bong. Oh, we're down. That's the reality of a fight. I remember when I was playing basketball in high school at my buddy Carp's house. The rim was like 9'6", so we could act like we were over and dunk. And he's as big as me. I came with a crossover. I hit him right here in the top of his head. Down and out in Beverly Hills. I'm wide open with color. And, that's the exact same bump right there pretty much, and a legit one at it. So that was good. And then we go into the finish, and Swole's doing the headbutt to go into the big roaring elbow. So off of that double down, we're doing the setup for our finish. That's the high level Dean Malenko level that Serena is working at. That's higher level in the ring than my mind works. That's higher level in the ring than a lot of Sons of Rip mind works. That's how fucking good she is. Possibly the best in-ring mind in AEW, above Cody, above Kenny Omega, above a lot of people there, dude. To see those fine-tuned little things is magical.
Definitely taking you on the peaks and valleys. You want that high low. It could be Swole, it could be Serena, taking you on that towards the end, right before the finish, because you don't know. That's really where like her skill is, like you said, to her point, that where no one's mind is. And what I'm trying to learn on is it's not always just the formulatic, shine, heat, then go into the quick, we call it the Florida comeback, which is clothesline, back elbow. Here you go home, finish.
Oh, we bitched about that for a good 30 minutes.
Okay. So so basically she doesn't do any of that, which is phenomenal. So it's the peaks and valleys that where her head game's at, where going into the roaring elbow and the headbutt that looked really great towards the finish.
Here's one thing I ask, and I know Sil will probably disagree with me, but he's wrong as always when I get hot. This is what Swole needs to stop doing, and it's not just her fault. It came from New Japan Wrong style. I've seen Moose do it. I've been super critical of it. This side penguin double slap headbutt is absolutely wrong. It never looks good. It always looks like shit. And you usually, if you're going to hit it, that means you really got to hit somebody and headbutt them for shoot. The way you do it, especially easy on me or Sil, you can grab the beard and lead me around. But if I was going to grab it on Jenna's beautiful face, I get her by the chin on either side, show that I've got her, so I can then lock and load and measure her safely, and I come in and hit the headbutt that way. this side slap, penguin double thigh slap headbutt is one of the worst offensive things in wrestling, and it always looks bad. So unless you got a guy who's willing to stand in the pocket and take a shoot headbutt, that's about the only way you're gonna be able to get that over. So
yeah, I don't think any ladies are willing to do that. Definitely not.
I got no problem with Swole throwing a headbutt, but let's fucking get the right way, because that's all part of the rhythm. The grab, the cane throat grab, the got him. So you can sell. We see your eyes get bigger, and then boom, the delivery, and then we can get a big bump off of that. But if I just lean in and go, we just took away 4 counts of our rhythm. Like we're getting next to nothing out of that move, and it's look crappy. So that would be the
How'd you know that? How did you predict that I would disagree with you on this one?
Because you're like, Hamin, the game changes and headbutts change and da-da-da. Well, here's the thing. Go put up any of my headbutts that I do with Kong and all that kind of shit, because we do it the same way, or grab them on either side on the head and we do the gimmick that way. It always looks 10 times better than everybody who misses it by that much slapping their thighs to make a sound. So now we're just a sound effects motherfucker and not even getting our offense over as real. And if you do that headbutt, you shouldn't be doing any headbutts, you fucking motherfucker. So that
to be fair,
you should just be back here like 4 feet away, slapping your thigh, laying people out.
To be fair, and to your point, never once in a match have I done the headbutt you've referenced. I've done the chin grab or my hand on the head, and I got a pretty damn good headbutt. But I'll put him over. The best person I've ever seen, even better than Rip, who taught him to do the chin headbutt, is the Man Beast. Ted the Man Beast has the best one I've ever seen.
He throws his whole body into it.
It looks fucking great. Awesome. Now here's where I'll disagree with you, and I think this is as much to the credit of Serena maybe as Swole and the timing of it. I thought the one Swole gave Serena looked really convincing. That could have been because she threw it hard and there was no air to see that it was fake, or because Serena put her head in and out quick enough to make it look great. But the one in this match I had no problem with. I do feel it's overused, and I hate when you can see the slap part. I'll side with you there. But I thought the one in this match was executed well. I didn't have any problem with it. That came from the UK, I think. A lot of people started using it a few years ago.
For a while. I've been on it for a while from Impact and seen it bleed in. So now when I see it, it's just even to hear that sound, that your chin doesn't make that sound when you get clacked on the chin. So we're just doing phony stuff that became the norm on the indies, and it's trickling up to TV again, and it's not as good as a quality one. My favorite Beasts is phenomenal. And my favorite one, you remember when Blue World Order Japan invaded ECW and they had that 6-man with the Shinobi dude and all that? There's one when Togo grabs him by the face like that, and he turns away, like loads his back hip, and like he's throwing a straight like a straight cross. He loads it and comes back in and kills them with it. So there's so much that they miss on the rhythm with that stuff that it just needs to be tightened up.
That Togo one is a version of the one I do, and I probably stole it from him. So
I remember that spot on that pay-per-view. That's probably the most hard-hitting shot and believable shot on that ECW pay-per-view. It stuck with me for 25 years, man.
Yeah. And as far as the match, Serena, due to her training and experience and the fact that she was a coach for so long, when you're a coach, you get even better as a technician because you have to show people stuff, and you got to be good at showing it. If you're a coach who can't show something, your students are going to be like, how much of a coach are you? And Serena is a sponge that truly loves wrestling. She's one of, I'd say a shorter list of women that were huge wrestling fans before they stepped in a ring. Serena watched wrestling with the same eyes that I did. And she soaked up all that knowledge while at NXT, watching the people like Smiley and Regal and all these other great trainers. So in the ring last night, Serena's movements were flawless. Her technique was on point. Everything she did looked good and looked like it hurt. I think Serena is one of the best wrestlers out on television right now from bell to bell. And Big Swole, with all of her charisma, and she's got some cool moves, Swole is still evolving into a complete wrestler.
Yeah.
But I feel like pretty much any weaknesses that Swole may have, that she hasn't learned yet, Serena covered for and did a phenomenal job doing it. I thought she did really, really great.
I did too, man. Bottom line, best wrestling match on the show. Best wrestling.
It was just a good match. Like, it was a good wrestling match. And for women, obviously, it's nice to say.
No hair pull, no cat shit, no tits and ass. You know what I mean? Real competition, real women's revolution style stuff.
Hey, did you know that Jenna has an important real women's evolution match coming up? I believe, November in Texas?
November 6th.
Wow, nice. Get me booked, Briz.
So, right. So November 6th, Mission Pro will be doing their second show. We did one last month, and that's where Genocide made her debut, and it was a big hit. So we're doing it again. As you know, Thunder Rosa is involved as part owner of Mission Pro. So we're doing it. We're streaming on Tidal, Match Network, and then you can also go. It's in Buda, Texas, at Pinball's Kingdom. It's an outdoor show, social distancing. All of the health precautions were taken into place. Everyone was distanced. There were a lot of people, but distance, mask, everything. All the women were pre-checked, so it's a safe environment, and it's an all-women show. We're doing a straight out of hell tournament, so it's going to be kick-ass, and I'm excited to go kick some female ass in the ring again.
I think you're over.
She's being a little modest.
Yeah.
Last match. Sorry, Hamin, I couldn't hear you there.
I think she's over prepared. She's ready to go. I've been watching her progress. I have supreme confidence in you right now that you're going to go out there and really just tear down the house. You just follow everything you've been doing coaching wise. Don't take any excessive risks and whatnot. And you're going to outshine everybody, just like Serena's doing right now with fundamentals. You got it in the bag, and you got character for days now. I mean, you don't even have to rely on that shit if you don't want to. You could go out and do the robot in half of your match if you wanted to and get over. Like
system overload.
He'll teach you all that wrestling shit. I'll teach you how to get over doing nothing.
and she's being a little bit modest. The first show they did was very special because they are a women-owned and women-operated promotion, which is very historical. Card was all females, including referees, camera women, commentators. So, I mean, that's a huge part in the women's wrestling movement. They put on a good show. In my opinion, Thunder Rosa obviously was the biggest star and did a great performance. Along with her, in my opinion, I think Jenna probably shined the brightest, and social media told her that she did a pretty damn good job. She really hooked all these fans with Genocide and is seeing a lot of interaction. And Mission Pro is starting to really make the rounds on social media. Like, this is becoming a thing in women's wrestling. So for this next show, the tournament, I know that Jenna's going to kick some ass. There were a lot of fucking views on that last one, and it was solid.
Because it was the first big women's show since all of this happened. I mean, it was my first time wrestling since shutdown. So that was end of February. So it was the first time anyone got to watch like a live show and like be in action, that had a pretty good audience and was streaming. So I was just happy to be a part of it. I'm happy that, Robin Reed pushed for me, and she's one of the bookers, and, she still is like you, like, why isn't someone like Jenna signed? So she gave me an opportunity and pushed for me to be a part of that show. So I feel blessed. I was just happy to be there, and I'm going to be happy to be there again and keep doing my thing. And I'm glad the audience really was receptive to the new Genocide character I've been working on for the past 7 months in quarantine, like a nut. So I'm just happy to see it all come together, and we'll be excited to kick some ass in the tournament.
I think you're right on it, Jenna. You're putting in that grind for that last 7 months where some people have been sitting on their ass waiting to have something handed to them. You've been doing the legwork that will have you over prepared for the opportunity. And here it is, where everybody else is hungry for bookings and there aren't many shows running. And the fact, like I said, everybody's home on their phone watching, and you're using social media the right way. You're showing how to inspire and the work it takes to put in and grind and catalog it the right way, instead of just being like, put me over because I should be over. And
newsflash, you'll be motivated. It's just not my tits and ass that's going to get me a job. It'll be my wrestling, and I'm an athlete.
It's not going to hurt you either, though. I'm telling you right now. It's not going to hurt. My titties hurt me getting a chance of getting a job, though. I can't work with my shirt off. That's my problem.
That's that British guy.
That's still a little bit more than him, but shout out Twink. You're looking good too, pal. We're happy for you.
Yeah, thanks, Jenna, for joining us today. And HMG fam, I ask if you can, show support for someone in our HMG crew. Those events, it's $10 to watch it from home, and I think you can stream like all the matches, if I'm not mistaken, on Title Match Wrestling, which has
like a monthly fee.
Huge catalog. If you only want to pay for 1 month, pay $10, watch Jenna kick ass, watch Thunder Rosa kick ass, and then watch a whole bunch of other matches on their back catalog and cancel the damn thing if you want, or keep it every month. But it's $10, and it's a good show. I watched the first one and was impressed. So.
Oh, well, thank you for paying.
You said November 6th, Jenna. You said November 6th is the show.
November 6th.
Let's connect maybe 10 days before that, right before Halloween, and we'll do a really
my birthday.
Is it? All right. We'll do a big promote for that then, because we want to get all eyes on you, and I want to everything you do to take care of my brother right here. I want to pay back tenfold anytime I can, and I'm so glad that you're with us and that you're gonna just murder it. I can't wait to be like, yeah, we had her back then. That's what it's about.
Much appreciated. I'm gonna let you finish the rest of your show. Thanks for your time and letting me call that out. Much appreciated.
Corporate Jenna away.
Corporate Jenna needs to go back. She got bills to pay. Bye-bye.
Bills to pay, squats to do. Beautiful as the sky is blue.
Yeah, man.
My friends listening.
Roll out of here.
The lovely Jenna Side.
Yeah, man. Dude, this girl, dude. I don't know why. And that's the other thing. Maybe we need to talk about this. Make a crazy face right now. Okay, good.
My face is always crazy.
It's a good one. She just hits me up. She's like, I just feel down today. I'm like, dude, this is what it takes dealing with performers. That's a good picture of us. So I'm gonna have to make that the fucking banner.
That's perfect.
That's our roller coaster picture right there. She's just not happy with her performance and shit, like any fucking whacked out artist, But that's what Hamin does, man. I try and rein people in and show them their greatness, because they are great. Whether it's Jenna Van Muscles, Chris Silvio, Serena Deeb, anybody we work with, man, Stevie Richards, always trying to push each other forward. And sometimes we just need that little extra bit, and we don't know that we need it. I know that I need more positivity in my life. That's why a healthy dose of Silvio every week keeps me fucking back on track, because I can get toxic, especially with all this shit going around.
Oh yeah, it's easy to. Shout out to Big Stevie, by the way, who I've often been compared to look-wise, not work-wise. I think we work different styles, but he's been a good brother, and Stevie's been there for me in some difficult times without us having a close relationship prior. So thank you, Stevie. I appreciate all you do for the brand and just being there for me. You're a good brother.
Yeah, Allah, man. We continue on with a couple more Jericho cameos that we covered earlier, and then we go right in the main event for where everybody's singing. Judas on my mind. You can see Jericho is humbled by that. Go ahead.
He was. But before we get to how awesome that entrance was, we had a shining light of the show. I think equally shining as Serena's match. Jon Moxley's bar promo.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I didn't even take notes on it because I was watching it so intently.
Right?
Great.
Fucking good.
Great slow play, great putting over the danger of that he's in and coming out. This is the James Dean that Dean Ambrose should have been. Now Jon Moxley is that, and he's hitting his stride. I think this last 5 pre-taped promos have all been on a really B+, A- level. This was a next evolution of that. I really enjoyed it. So,
and this is who Moxley is as a person and destined to be. Why does Jon Moxley get suplexed into barbed wire and all this other shit? Because that's how John thinks. Fuck it. I might die. Every shot might be my last shot, and I don't give a fuck. I'm a rebel. I'm going in hard and doing it. And he communicated that on camera, the way he tied in the shot at the end with everybody dies. Fuck, maybe it's my time. It makes him vulnerable, which is so important as a babyface to have that sympathy. Not only was it great delivered dialogue and lines that he felt from his heart, but it made him a little vulnerable, and it really started questioning, shit, is John gonna lose the title? You know, so it made the match mean more. Right now he's on fire, man. There's a reason why I can't ever really get mad when Moxley wins, even if I question, you know, why they made someone lose, because he's the man. His promos are fucking good, man. He's the character.
Business wise, it's a bad idea to take it off him. He's in his zone right now. Empathy's not going to help him. You want to see him on a tear. He's as cool as anybody in wrestling. He's getting it. We finally have the James Dean character is not an easy character to emulate. You either have to have the swag or else you're going to fucking not get it. You got it. You know, it's not my bag of tricks. No one's living sexually vicariously through me unless you're into some weirdo shit. But like, you know, that guy is the one. He's not super big. He's jacked enough. He's tan enough. He's got the delivery. You know, he's got the wife, even though we're not seeing it. We don't need to. It's all right there, dude. And right now he's in the pocket. There's no doubt about it.
Yep. I think right now it might be a bold statement, but I would put him in the top tier of current best promos in the business right now, John Moxley.
I can't disagree with that. Not at all, especially in pre-tape. It's all getting over well.
All right, sorry to kill your flow, brother, and start a premature.
Not at all. I was into that. I was so into it, I didn't even write notes on it. Yeah, then you know, we get Judas in my mind, and everyone's pumped about it. Jericho looks humbled and happy, showing some real emotion, which further made me go like, why did we have the work shit earlier? You know what I mean? That would have made so much more to really have a moment there. I don't know what this thing is with Luther and their boys. I got boys too that I'm diehard dedicated to, but I wouldn't sacrifice that to put them in the ring to expose wrestling at the expense of my 30th, and just I get to work the match I want to work. This match was abysmal, possibly one of the top 5 worst Jericho matches ever recorded. It's all the fact that Luther is shindy rotten. I mean, I get it. You want your boys to have jobs. This guy's been around, but this was business exposing bad. This was as bad as any match I've ever seen on the worst indie shows I've worked right here. And I'm sorry to say that, like, because I wanted this segment to be the big capper and to get over so they could have that, but there's no way. There was 5 or 6 just absolutely rotten moments in this where it's just like, oh. Like if you get one like that, the Cody Brodie kick mess, you're like, oh, feel bad for them. They're kicking ass so hard. This is like, oh, dude, this is the main, oh, like that gross feeling wrestlers will get. And there was a lot of that here, bro. A lot of it. So I don't want to shit on it too much and keep going, dude, but you can't call yourself All Elite Wrestling when you're showcasing people like that in the main event. I don't care whose friend they are. I don't care whose friend.
And I was watching this, and when I saw the graphic pop up at the start of the show, my first thought was, fuck, Jericho's a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, I think they were in training school together, or at least they've known each other since Jericho's early career. And as you and I both do, you know, we appreciate loyalty. So I thought that was very kind of Jericho, and it'd be kind of cool for him, a milestone. Hey, 30 years later, I'm wrestling the guy that was there on year 1. You know, so I respect him for doing that. Luther, to the fans that don't know, made his bones in Japan and became somewhat of a deathmatch legend. Leatherface, I think he did Dr. Luther over there. I don't follow death matches really as much as I did when I was a teenager, but he was a big deal in Japan, a really big deal. But this wasn't a death match, and this was years later, and I'm not sure how much work Luther was doing in between. I do know Luther is better than what we saw last night. Is that due to ring rust?
There's only, you can only go up from what we saw last night, bro. Like, yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with that. To be honest, you probably haven't as much as me because you're an athletic fucker, and even when things go bad for you in the ring, it's not going to be that bad. When you've had to work with me, and when I was at my slovenliest, or when I've had to work other guys who were, you know, even below my acumen in physicality, I've had one or two of these matches where everything just goes to shit. And it's just like, thankfully it was in front of 150 people on an indie show and not 1 million tuning in for Jericho's 30th. That's the real stinger on this, bro. That's the real, because this show, I believe, will be over 1 million because that dog collar match was great. Serena, once they're on and they're wrestling, you're not turning away from that. And then you're going to want to get to the Jericho thing at the end. And then, wah, 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 wah. I felt bad, bro. I really felt bad for him.
Yeah, Jericho did a great job in this. Everything he did looked fine. Hager did his part. And I got to give a little props to Florida guy Serpentico. He held down the offensive and defensive side of his team. The shine was on Luther, but when Serpentico was in there, he did his thing. He did what was asked of him, and he did it well. So I got to give him props for that, and a huge opportunity for him. I don't think we've really seen Serpentico on Dynamite. He's been a staple on Dark, where they established this tag team. But cool milestone for him. Just imagine as being one of the boys, you get to main event Dynamite on Jericho's 30th show. Big fucking deal. So
it should have been, though. I mean, not those guys. Whatever, guys, feel some type of way if you want it. Should have been a mystery opponent, complete mystery opponent, and Lance Storm comes out. There's 50 guys you could have picked from. You know what I mean? You even could have got RVD if you wanted to. He would have been available, like we needed something here. And unfortunately, this didn't get it. We peaked on this show in the middle with the dog collar. The Serena stuff was icing on the cake for us being friends. But this segment, I just felt, damn, dude, we missed big on this.
Yeah, it was no secret to everybody watching that, Dr. Luther appeared to be pretty limited on TV, is the kindest way I could put it. He tried, he worked hard. But as Jericho, I've been, like you said, I've been in that situation.
It sucks. It sucks.
I've also been in the unique situation where I'm wrestling a friend, a true friend who doesn't quite possess the same amount of wrestling ability. And I've had shit go wrong and when we get to the back, I can't be but so mad because I love the guy. It's like he, fucked up when we're hanging out at the bar and I got to bring him home before the cops come. So I know Jericho wasn't mad at his boy. I think with everything Jericho's done, he had some beers, he hugged him, told him it was all right, maybe even told him it was great. I know Jericho, it's really no skin off his back.
No.
It's, it being on national TV, and exposing some stuff. You said it all.
One of those things as a producer, you're in the back, like, this show is going to be fucking awesome. I can't wait to go off the air. And like in your mind, you have it the whole way. And then everyone's just silent in production. You go, oh, fuck. Well, we'll get them next week, boys. And that's the way it goes with live performance and wrestling stunt shows sometimes, man. I'm not trying to slight on Luther of being who he is or anything along those lines. And like you said, the loyalty and putting your buddy in the main might have meant something way more to Chris than anything.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Know what I mean? So there is all that. You just wanted to hit him a home run and we whiffed. And that's just how it is, bro. That's just how it is.
And that's when you got to factor in sometimes, the TV rating side of stuff.
Sure.
It was what it was. Then we had our boy, actually before our boy comes out, maybe they just should have done a singles, like a brawl style match where Luther could have done his best shit. And I think Jericho probably could have turned a better match out of it.
I think they should have had a surprise with a draw from the past.
Could be.
We
had MJF come out to present his gifts to Jericho.
And then they've got somebody standing there with a sheet over the top of him, and he takes it off, and it's Clowny, the clown, or whatever the fuck, or El Clownico. And Jericho half pops for it. I don't know why we're doing this. This is your life WWE reboot shit, but we are. He's holding a picture or another gift. Oh, the one-upsmanship of it all. I wonder if it's going to be an MJF picture. Of course it is. Hits him with it. Boom. Dude, cleans the clock of the fucking clown with a back elbow. I think that showed how pissed Jericho was at that match. And that clown took the receipt for the entire fucking thing because he mollywopped that motherfucker. And that almost made me feel better from the wrestle crap and the bad match to like watching somebody take a big shoot elbow. I'm in for it, bro. Why the fuck not? If there was ever a time to elbow a clown in the face as hard as you fucking can,
you got him all right.
That might have been
Poor
it.
clown.
That poor bastard. And then we go off the air with celebration and false pomp and circumstance between MJF and Jericho. It's what we were building to. There was a good pre-tape last week. Even MJF playing brilliantly looks over to the side and says to fucking El Sexico, I'll still get your jacket. Don't worry, your jacket's coming, buddy, or whatever it is like that, to put over the pre-tape where he didn't have it. So I hope we get Sammy and MJF to blow shit off before Jericho is. And then Jericho's caught in the middle of, is it this little buddy or is it this new buddy? You know what I mean? But and we'll see which way things are going. I think we could have a nice little fucking fun dynamic there to play with. I think that they're going to get the most out of it.
I agree. And MJF did a really solid promo pre-tape earlier praising Jericho, but with that MJF-ness where you don't know how sincere he is. Then they teased during this go-home segment, they teased that Jericho was pissed. He said something like, don't you ever interrupt. I like the gifts. Don't you ever interrupt me again. Showed that tension. And then they both did the, you got me there. Oh, so we'll see where they're going from there. But that was Jericho's 30th. It was an interesting show. Some high points, maybe a couple misses along the way. But I tell you what, it kept my attention for 2 hours.
I agree completely. And I hope that they are over 1 million now that Deeb's on there. I'm always hoping for that even more. And the fact that it was a star-studded cameo appearance should have been enough to keep them over 1 million. And the Brodie Cody in the middle was a solid match given away. Like you said, should have been per pay-per-view. So hopefully all that combined, starting off with the big hosses as well, held people for 2 hours. I think the way the show was booked card-wise was right. The heats and the follow-throughs at the end of those segments, wrong, to do it 3 times and all that. There just needs to be more. And like you said, with the Shivani stuff too, we could have got a lot out of that. Why are we doing this where we're making a quick decision? They need to be thought out a little bit better and more rounded. We're here to big brother you, dude. You got the best of us, and you can have more of us. Chris Silvio, phenomenal mind, and can agent anything you want to get it the right way. And me, I can walk around and yell, I guess. Usually I can inspire a great performance, man, and help punch things up. And that's what we do on AEW Dynamite before we punch them down. Sil, what do you got going on this week, man?
Well, first on deck, I've gotten, after like a fucking month and a half delay and quarantine due to a certain wrestling thing, not telling people about a COVID outbreak. We're not going to go any further. My shirts were fucking delayed. It was a nightmare, but I got all the first batch sent out this week. So those that ordered should be getting it. I've got a few left to send. A few of you guys actually are HMG listeners. It didn't include your address. So please send me via Facebook Messenger your address so I can get you your shirt, including you, MSG, wherever the hell you are. So I got a few of those to do. As far as what's going on, I actually had to kind of take a step back a little bit. Evidently after MRI results and shit like that, turns out my neck's pretty jacked. I've got some disc issues and a moderate form of the foraminal stenosis. So there's some shit I got to tend to with that. So my physicality has to be limited. And my concussion doctor is seeing, unfortunately, some things that aren't consistent necessarily with recovery. So I got to limit a lot of the things I do, screen time and stuff like that. So I'm still here. I'm going to be with you guys as much as I can, but I got to lay low for a while. So what I'm doing, I'm pretty much just playing music at home, trying to heal, writing music. I'm working on a book that I've been penning for quite a while now. So I'm going to be an artist for a little while and less of a wrestler. So you won't see as much of me, but I'll still be around. It's not because I don't love and appreciate you guys all. Wrestling's been my heart for as long as I could remember. But I guess, sometimes it takes a man to know his limitations and when the fuck he's got to actually listen to people and sit the fuck down. So right now I'm attempting to sit the fuck down.
You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, buddy. And, I'm always here. You always can play at this table anytime you want to. I appreciate everybody sticking through for a 2-hour and 20-minute episode of AEW Dynamite Light the Fuse here at Hamin Media Group. The lovely Jenna Van Muscles, a.k.a. Genocide, doing great things. Don't let Sil bullshit you. He'll still be taking selfies with 4 hot chick wrestlers posting on his Instagram every other goddamn day while he writes his little ditties and gets over more. What's that, pal?
That was on her Instagram.
Well, yeah, sure it was. But yeah, man, it was a solid show this week. We'll be back in the morning with the Friday Locker Room with Stevie Richards and I. Obviously, the Conspiracy Horseman will be up there. I see Chris is going over to check out Master Shoot Theater right now at patreon.com/RussoTWC, russosbrand.com as well for all the great stars over there, from Shane Douglas, Justin Credible, Disco Inferno, Vince Russo, Stevie, myself, Goldilocks, and many, many more. You guys, the best value. Why would you go anyplace else to listen to people who've never trained a day, never been in the ring, and never drawn a dime, when you can come right here and get expert experience from the people who are in the trenches, doing it, consulting, and getting the real work done here at Hamin Media Group. Silvio, that's my buddy over there, and it's Hacker Hamin Infidels. It's time to light the fuse. Where's my lighter? God damn it! Where did I put that thing? Oh, here it is.